last Sunday of the month. So therefore, it is our monthly live stream. They put a notification up. I'm going to close that. And it's very exciting. Today we're going to do a bit of a trip announcement, and it's going to be really exciting because in 9 days' time I'm heading back to Disneyland Paris, which is going to be so much fun. But it's going to be a very different trip to what I've done before. So I want to give you all the details because it will also impact the rest of the year and those sorts of trips. We could talk about the trips you're going to be doing, anything to do with Disney at all. I've got some questions. I always come with my little piece of paper with the questions. So it's going to be always so much fun. The best thing, getting to chat to everyone, hang out, talk about Disney, and yeah, I can't wait to let you know all the details because like I say, this is going to be a very different trip. I'm so sorry you can see my fingers coming to the screen. I'm just trying to get the live stream up on my laptop so that I can read the comments because it's too small on the screen on my phone. So I'm like, we'll do it on the laptop and then we can actually see things. Hi Lisa, lovely to see you. How are you doing? Thank you for joining. How has the start to your 2026 been? I can't believe. I feel like this January has gone quite quickly. People always say, oh, January drags on. I feel like this one's gone quickly. And, you know, very, very soon, Disneyland Paris bound, which is going to be absolutely amazing. Hiya, lovely to see you all. Thank you so much for joining. And yes, what's interesting is for this trip specifically, I've booked a package which included hotel and flight, which I never do. I normally book everything separate. So just doing loads of new things. So I thought we would talk all about it, what it's going to be like. So I'm just very excited. Hi, how are you doing? It's so good to see you all. Thank you all for joining. How are you all being? How has your 2026 been? Do you have any plans for this year? What are you excited for? I can't wait to hear everyone's thoughts, feelings. Are you excited about anything happening at Disney? Are you going to Disney? Are you going somewhere else that you're excited about? So you can chat about absolutely everything. But I thought I would do some of the questions first because it's a nice way to start the live stream. And I always love, there's always such a diverse range of questions. I'm always impressed that everyone comes up with amazing questions. So thank you all. It's so amazing. As Molly Ann is here, this is a great question. She asked, what is your earliest Disneyland Paris memory? And it's actually really funny because I went the year that Disneyland Paris opened, which makes me feel very old. But this I always think is such a funny story because I'm like, this is like the most 90s thing that could have ever happened. So we went to Disneyland Paris. I've got a feeling we stayed at the Sequoia Lodge because I distinctly remember the hotel had a pool. Which is why when I stayed at Sequoia Lodge in November, I was like, I feel like I have stayed here, but I have no memory of it at all, apart from going to a pool. But we never got to the pool. So I think it was Sequoia Lodge. But we were going to go have an amazing time, going to go relax after all the excitement in the parks. And we weren't allowed in the swimming pool because Michael Jackson was using the swimming pool. And I was just like, this is the most 90s thing that's ever happened to anyone. So it's so weird that that's my first memory because it's like Disney but also not Disney because it's like a Disney hotel but not the parks itself. But I do just remember, like, you know, seeing the castle, and back then you had roaming characters and it just being so exciting because all these things you've seen on screen are now coming to life and you're getting to see people for real, which is just so exciting. So yeah, but I'd love to know also what are your earliest Disney memories. It could be maybe like watching a film, your first visit to parks, anything like that, because it is, I think, so amazing that everyone kind of has Disney in their life, and that's what I think is really nice because it is like generational, and it's just always so good. It's so good. Oh, that's so lovely, Lisa. You've said I need a happy Sophie today. It's Sunday and around about 230 days till Disney World, which is the only thought that gets me through going to work. That's the thing, isn't it? So I'm going there to earn the money so we can get back to Disney. And that is the best motivation. It's so true. Natalie said you're not going to the US and you're going to go to Canada instead. And then Lisa said it's a better choice considering the politics, although there's no politics in Disney. And actually there is a question that I did have from Rob that said, with the current political climate in America, how safe is a trip to Disney World? And I would say, so when I went in September last year, I was already quite nervous going, because at that point there was a lot of talk about getting into the US. A lot of people were being turned away. A lot of people were being taken for secondary questioning for many hours, like their phones gone through, etc., etc. So it was already quite worrisome. However, I have to say, Orlando itself was operating as usual. I didn't see anyone kind of have those sorts of issues. I didn't encounter those sorts of issues. And once you're at Disney itself, you are so unaware of anything that is going on in the news, in politics, and anything. And I've always said I think that's one of the reasons why Disney's so amazing, because you get to switch off, and it's like a tonic for the brain. Which in this day and age is more important than ever, I think. So I would say once you're at Disney World itself, there wouldn't be an issue. There is, obviously, since when I've been in September, things have escalated. I know when I went, it was already being advised to take your passport with you wherever you went, whereas normally I would kind of leave it at the hotel room unless I was doing something that required a passport, like if you were getting an alcoholic drink, or sometimes you need it for like ID for whatever reason. So they are recommending you do that just in case. But yeah, I definitely think that a lot of people are quite nervous to visit the US right now, which totally makes sense. But yeah, I would say my experience, I was absolutely the same. I was feeling nervous in the lead up to the trip, especially because when I booked the trip, that there wasn't a lot of talk about all of this, kind of loads of this extra stuff going on, and extra checks, and the potential of being out and about and being stopped, and that's happened in the lead up to my trips. And then you start panicking, because a lot of people, I think, will be in this boat where you've already got trips booked, and it's kind of like, should I go, should I not go? If I go, will it be safe? What should I do? But I have to say, once I was there was kind of no, you wouldn't really necessarily know anything was going on, because you kind of are in that Disney bubble, which in some ways is nice, because like I say, it's like a tonic for your brain. And yeah, you could be completely unaware really of anything that's happening. But yeah, I would say just take precautions, like carrying your passport on you. Of course, these days there is talk that they will be doing more kind of like questioning or searching of phones, so that's something to be aware of before going. But yeah, it's a difficult time, isn't it? Because we want everything just to be nice, and the world's gone. Well, good luck with that. Like, everywhere seems to have gone absolutely crazy, and every day you just go, it can't get worse, and then it can get a lot worse. It's just nuts. It's so bonkers. But is anyone here going and feeling nervous about it? Is there anyone that's been recently, and what their experience were? Did they have any problems? Did they find actually once you're there, you kind of felt quite comfortable? I think it's always great to hear other people's thoughts as well. Natalie, you say your first time in Disneyland Paris was the year it opened as well, which is very exciting. And you went to Disney World in 1978. That's so exciting. And to think that, the parks had not been open that long, like 7 years. It's so exciting to have been to Disney World. And it must have been such a different experience then till today, because even like, I think my first trip to Disney World, I think I was 6 or 7. And I posted a while ago a video from that trip. I think it was 93, 94. And it was amazing seeing the difference, because you had like 20,000 leagues under the sea. And when you used to have the Skyway, I think it was called the Skyway, where you had the cable cars, and like, there's nobody there. It's really empty and stuff like that. So it's so fun to look back at the differences, and like the attractions that used to be there and then aren't there anymore. And yeah, it's just an amazing time. Oh, this is great. Jordan, I'm going to assume it's Jordan, but also it could be JRDN, but I've gone for Jordan. I apologise if it's not Jordan. I said, you went to Disney World in September, going again in March for 2 weeks, and then have 2 weeks in September planned. Even thinking of pivoting and going to Japan in September with everything going on. How very exciting! That's just awesome, isn't it? And Japan is just such a fantastic park. I'm so desperate to go. So I'm living vicariously through everyone that has been, and hearing all of their stories, and it's a dream, isn't it? And it's so interesting now that the Asian parks are so much cheaper to visit. And you could do a 2-week trip where you go to all 3 of the Asian parks, stay in Disney hotels, and it's cheaper than 2 weeks to Disney World, which is just nuts. But what a dream. What a dream that is. That's so amazing. Hi, Jose, lovely to see you. Thank you for joining. Oh, and hi, Disney Chalk. It's lovely to see you. Oh, it's so much fun. Lisa said, let's have a little look. Sorry, I had to scroll back. Last November, when I went to the Warped Tour in Disney World, it was just fine, even though I was nervous about going in and out of the Disney bubble. And yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? Like, I think people do worry, like, if you're in Disney, you're going to feel pretty comfortable, pretty safe. There's not going to be a problem. What's it like going outside? And again, when I kind of went out and about in Orlando, it was fine. Like, if you had not ever, say you just was someone that lived under a rock, never saw any news, I wouldn't have had any clue anything was kind of going on. Which in some ways is kind of ignorance is bliss because you don't have the knowledge of what's going on. But then it's also that weird thing of like, oh, but there is things going on. So you kind of want to be aware. But yeah, I do think if you're going and you've got a trip booked, I wouldn't be too worried. But like I say, you might want to take some extra precautions like carrying your passport and stuff like that just to be fine. But in the parks, you're going to be really in like the bubble, which is the glorious bubble. If we need the bubble at home, how do we get the bubble outside of the Disney bubble? How do we bring it home with us? That's the one thing they haven't managed to do yet. They need to be able to do that because I want the bubble here. Hi Liz, lovely to see you. Thank you so much for joining. Jose said, I will not be going back to Disney World for a few years. I think I'll be waiting for all the new lands and rides to open. And that's something I think is amazing, isn't it? Like the next 5 years, there's so much happening at Disney World that if you do have a break from visiting, when you go back, there's just going to be so many new things to experience. So that is something I like particularly about Disney World is it's always progressing. And I think one of the reasons Adventure Way and World of Frozen is so exciting at Disneyland Paris is Disneyland Paris progress is much slower. So it's such a huge deal when something finally opens. Whereas Disney World, it's like blink and you miss it. There's suddenly all these new things that pop up. So the next couple of years in particular, loads of construction, but in like 5 years, Disney World's going to be so different to visit. It's going to be crazy. Oh, very exciting. Jordan, I'm so sorry if your name isn't Jordan. I'll just keep calling you Jordan. But you said you cannot. Oh, you're going to go to Disneyland Paris in May to see Frozen Land. So yes, that's going to be so exciting. And I'm wondering how many people are going to be going to Disneyland Paris this year so you can experience World of Frozen and Adventure Way. It's just going to be exciting, isn't it? And something I think is going to be really exciting because obviously we don't know yet, but I'm sure they'll do stuff. Christmas season, World of Frozen. It could be amazing. They're obviously going to decorate. I'm saying obviously they don't tend to decorate the studio park. I feel funny because you've only got like 2 months left to call it the studio park, so I'm like going to keep saying it until the very last minute. But they don't do too much decorations in the studios park. But I'm wondering, with World of Frozen, they've got to go all out, right? It's the perfect time of year. It's going to be so good. And then Lisa says, I'm not only scared about ourselves, as a German, I'm quite nervous about supporting a fascist country. And I do think that's why you are seeing a big drop in tourism to the US, because a lot of people are nervous about not just themselves, like you say, it's also like, I don't know if I want to be visiting somewhere, putting money into an economy. So yeah, it's difficult, isn't it? Like, I think so many people have so many different thoughts and feelings and feeling conflicted if they have a trip already booked and what to do. So yeah, it's such a difficult time, isn't it? And I'm like, if everyone could just chill out, that would be amazing. And I'm like, I think this is just, we can't carry on like this, guys. This is just ridiculous. Because that's the thing, I think everyone just wants to get on with their lives and have a nice time, and everyone's making it very difficult, the people in power. And I'm like, if we could all just chill out and like just stop all this nonsense, because it's just, and that's why I think, like I say, Disney's so nice to go to, because not just that it's fun and stuff like that, but if you see like any of the shows, and particularly the nighttime shows, and you listen to the lyrics, there's all this talk about, it's so optimistic and it's so anything is possible. And particularly, like, I was really caught out by going to Epcot and their nighttime show now, and it talks all about like unity and like the human experience. And I think that's another reason why Disney is so good for you, because you leave feeling amazing and you feel like so positive, so uplifted. Whereas I feel like day-to-day life now can be quite miserable because you're just hearing something even more terrible than yesterday's happened, and it's just it's hard, isn't it? It's not a fun time. And I'm like, can we just kind of get out of the terribleness, because we've got to stop letting all these people do terrible things. Let's have a little look. So yes, Disney Chalk. So I haven't been to Tokyo yet. Lisa's been, which is very exciting, and like I think it looks a dream. Like I think the parks are fantastic because they've got things that are familiar but also totally unique. Disney Sea looks like next level incredible. The hotels look amazing. The merchandise is unbelievable. So I think Tokyo just looks like a dream. I feel like it's one of those parks that you go to and you go, oh, this might be my favorite Disney park in the world. And again, like Hong Kong, Shanghai, like it's just so great to go and experience things that, and this is what I really like, is that they also have their own cultural identity. And I think that's so brilliant. Because like I say, it must actually, because it's so, when we go, we just go, oh, this is brilliant. It must actually be quite difficult to have a mixture of what's familiar to people and what they recognise as like Main Street and Disney, but also creating things that are unique and have a cultural identity and merging them seamlessly. And I'm like, well done to the Imagineers. So I'm desperate to go out to the Asian parks. I haven't been primarily because it's really hard to eat vegan now. No, I have to say, it does seem like it is getting better. So that is great because when I was looking a few years ago, it was kind of like you just have to bring your own food and survive out of a suitcase of food for like a week. And I was like, oh, that doesn't sound that fun. But it definitely seems like there's way more options now. So that's a good sign. So I would absolutely love to go. If anyone's been to any of the parks, do let us know what you think. Liz says, you're going to Disney World at the end of April. I'm not worried about traveling to Disney because of the bubble. And yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? Like when you're in the Disney bubble. And I have to say as well, something that I noticed, like when you were in Disney, you were talking to all different people. You were talking to people all across the political spectrum. You were talking to people from all over different states, different ages, different backgrounds. And everyone was just so welcoming, so friendly. So it wasn't even like you'd go there and there's tension within people in the park or anything like that. Like I say, you literally would have no idea there's any sort of conflict or issues happening when you're in Disney. So I do agree, like the Disney bubble itself, you'll feel completely comfortable, which is great. Lisa said Tokyo Disney is the best. You need to do it, Disney Chalk, you need to go. It's happening. And Jose said you went solo to Disney World last November, had no problems. And yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? Like, it is, I think it is really helpful knowing people that have been kind of recently and what their experiences were. Because like I say, a lot of people, especially Disney World, you tend to book your trips quite far in advance. So you never quite know what's going to happen. And like this past year, I would say there's obviously been loads of stuff happening. So if you've booked way far in advance and you kind of are like now feeling a bit on edge, it's nice to hear from people and actually they've all had like fantastic experiences and it's not been a problem. But yeah, like I say, it's always handy just to know, like, be careful with your social media and maybe take your passport around with you just as a precaution. Hi Anne-Marie, it's lovely to see you. How are you doing? Oh, G-Man's Gaming is going to Disneyland Paris in May. Fantastic. That's going to be an awesome trip. It's going to be so nice that everything is open, everything is brand new. It's going to be so good. And then you're going to Disney World in October next year. Your brother has autism, so you're just worried about security with him, as I have to be with him at all times. And yes, I think that's the thing, isn't it? Like whenever you have any additional needs, or you're traveling with someone that does, like you always want to be able to make sure that you can be with them. And I think what's quite good is even stuff like in the UK we have the sunflower lanyard. I feel like at MCO that's even recognised. At Disney are really, really good to try and accommodate people. So I hope that will be absolutely fine and you'll have an amazing time together. Like, what a wonderful way to make memories. That's going to be so, so lovely. Hi, Justin J. How are you doing? They have literally just been in Disney World. So this is very exciting that we're having all of the talk about Disney World. So I hope you had the most amazing trip. We recently found out that me and Jess have the exact same birthday, which is very exciting. So we're birthday twins. So I hope you had an amazing birthday trip. I know their first vlog, their travel day to Disney World has just gone live today as well. So do go check out Jess and Jay because that's going to be amazing to watch. And if you are interested in the Asian parks, they have been very, very recently. So go and check them out as well because it's such a joy to go and see what other people are doing, what their experiences were. And I loved the whole series. And also they travel to other places. So if you want to see what it's like in Beijing, you want to go see also like Universal, like they have so much stuff. So do go and check it out. And yeah, it's so exciting to see what the parks are like out there. And I also love the idea of, because I love the planning. It's so nice to plan in a completely different way. And it's one of those things I think you have to like learn and go into and like go, okay, I need to wrap my head around this. But it's just then very exciting, the idea of learning it all, which is going to be so, so good. Oh, I'm so sorry. I keep scrolling. Oh, here we go. Oh, wow. Oh, there's so much chat. This is very exciting, guys. I'm absolutely loving this. Jordan, you're 100% right. Adventure Way at Christmas could be beautiful. And I love that it's kind of got that old school boardwalk feel. So that's going to be really pretty, especially because you're going to have all those lights and then like the Tangled ride lit up at night. It's going to be so pretty. So I think, like you say, combining that with Christmas is going to be so lovely. Lisa's thinking about upgrading her hotel at Disney World and using DVC rentals for the first time. So I haven't used a DVC rental company, but I know a lot of people that do, and it's a fantastic way to stay at a DVC resort, but from much more affordable prices. So that can be really, really fun. I love that you're wanting to go from All-Star Movies to Polynesian. The Polynesian is a dream. Like, you absolutely must. If you could go and stay there. And that's probably like that and Wilderness Lodge are my two like dream Disney World resorts. So please do that. That would be absolutely fantastic. It'd be so, so, so good. And particularly if you're going to be staying at the new the new DVC building at the Polynesian as well, which looks beautiful, like absolutely stunning, absolutely wonderful. So that would be so much fun. So if you're doing that, please let us know so we can all just vicariously live through. That's the phrase, isn't it? We want to live through you, Lisa. We're all with you in spirit at the Polynesian. Which sounds a bit creepy. You're just like, oh, can I just be on my own and then I'll talk to you about it afterwards? Whereas I'm like, we want to be peering through the windows. What it's like. Jordan says, if you've done the parks before and aren't going to spend every day in the parks doing rope drop to fireworks, then the upgrade is worth it. And this I totally agree with. The only deluxe resort I've stayed at was Animal Kingdom Lodge. And it was great for the experience, but I did it at the end. I did 2 weeks in a all-star resort and in the parks. Then I did 2 nights, 3 days at Animal Kingdom Lodge. And I just stayed at the hotel and went swimming and did all the dining and stuff like that. I would say if you're going to be just sleeping in your room, I personally don't think upgrading to deluxe is worth the money. If you're doing a couple of nights as a treat, amazing. But if you are literally just going to be dashing in and out, sleeping in, then that's it. For the amount extra you pay, I didn't think the experience was worthwhile. So I'm glad I did it the way I did it. But I think if I went to like and did a 2-week trip, I wouldn't necessarily stay at full price like I was paying for Animal Kingdom Lodge. Although what I did is I booked via the US website and they had a 25% discount for Disney Plus subscribers. So that was a good way to kind of save some money on a DVC, not a DVC, a deluxe resort. But yeah, I do agree, Jordan. I think if you're just kind of going to the parks primarily, it's not always worth the extra cost. They're beautiful, but when you see the price difference and you're like, this is a lot. So DVC rentals is a really good way because it's the perfect middle ground because you're getting the deluxe experience but for a much better price. So that's very exciting. Hi Sarah, lovely to see you. How are you doing? You said Polynesian is your dream. Would you take me in your suitcase? And yes, this is the thing. You're going to need a very big suitcase because we're all coming, apparently. It's so good. Hi Louise, lovely to see you. So yes, we will jump into what I'm doing at Disneyland Paris differently this time. So what's very exciting is I've now gone and rebought an annual pass. So I haven't had an annual pass for a few years. In fact, I haven't had it since it switched to the Disneyland pass. I had it, I think in 2023, did a few trips with it. And then because 2024, I knew I was going to Disney World and I wasn't going to Disneyland Paris as much. And I was going to be visiting in the off season. I switched back to doing ticket and hotel packages with Disney, and that's what I've done the past couple of years because I kind of travel midweek and off season. I always look for the cheapest dates, and that worked out. However, last September when they announced the hotel prices for this year, as a solo traveler particularly, they had gone up so much. Now, obviously, with World of Frozen opening, it was going to go up, but for solo travelers in particular, it's a significant jump. So the only realistic way for me to go back to Disneyland Paris this year was to get an annual pass and stay off-site. So this is going to be a very exciting year because the trips I'm going to be doing, I'm going to be staying in different areas outside of Disneyland Paris. So this trip that's coming up in like 9 days' time, I'm going to be staying in Val d'Europe, which is the place a lot of people will stay. And you've got a huge mall, you've got supermarkets, it's a few minutes on a train, it's absolutely perfect. Lots of hotels there. This time I'm going to be staying at the Moxie. I've never stayed at a Moxie before, so I'm also excited about that. So I'm going to have that experience, and then I'm also going to look at other areas. So previously I have stayed at the strip of hotels behind Disneyland Paris. So I stayed at the B&B and the Campanile. You also have like Grand Magic and Dream Castle, those sorts of hotels. And I loved the experience. I thought both those hotels were really good value. Liked the proximity. The downside was they share a bus that goes between all 5 hotels, and that can get very, very busy. Sometimes you'd have to wait for the next bus, stuff like that. So that was the one downside to those hotels. So I actually think staying in Val d'Europe will be quicker to get to Disneyland Paris, ironically. So I'm really looking forward to that. I've also been looking at Boussy and Torcy. So there's lots of hotels within 1, 2 or 3 stops to Disneyland Paris. So very, very close. I'm going to be staying at a lot of the more budget hotels. One, because I'm going to be more on a budget this year. But it's also that thing, I think, hopefully that'll be interesting for you as well. But I also think once you start getting to the more expensive priced hotels off-site, I'm like, I'd rather just stay on-site at Disney if you're going to be paying a similar price. So I was like, okay, let's go for the more affordable hotels and see what they're like, because it is going to be a case of mostly just sleeping there. So I don't need like the bells and whistles and loads of amenities. So that's going to be very exciting. And Liz has been the saviour, because unbeknownst to me, so I knew I was going to be getting the annual pass, and I was like, I'm going to try and get it towards the end of January so that I've got the most use, because then next year for my birthday, hopefully I'll go back to Disneyland Paris and I'll have the use of the pass. Fantastic. And then last week I just thought, I'll just buy it today. And then I bought it in the morning, very excited. That afternoon, Disneyland Paris went, pass order preview reservations are open for Adventure Way, World of Frozen. And I was like, what perfect timing. This is amazing. Was not perfect timing. So when I bought my annual pass, I immediately reserved dates to go in the park. Absolutely fine. It immediately, you could see it in the app now. Fantastic. It was so much easier than when I had it before. Seamless. However, when it comes to the reservations, I waited 2 hours in the queue to get to the reservations. And then they were like, oh, your annual pass technically starts tomorrow. And then you still can't book reservations for another day. So even though I'd bought an annual pass and I could do everything with it, I wasn't able to book any like World of Frozen reservations because they blacked it out for 2 days, which I think I actually saw online. A lot of people had this, that they either were waiting to buy an annual pass and then went, oh, quick, I better buy it now. Or they were due a renewal and they thought, oh, well, we'll do it now. And they also got caught out, so they didn't get reservations either. So they are reopening reservations in February. So I will try that. And then I did manage to book a really cheap hotel. It was like £100 for 2 nights. So again, I think the off-site hotels are unbelievably reasonable. And I think that's the thing. Like, if you want to go to Disneyland Paris more frequently, you don't mind staying off-site, you can do it much, much cheaper than I have been doing it. So I'm really excited for that experience. But it was very funny because poor Liz, she was guiding me through all of this because I was like, oh, because I couldn't even find like the portal link. It was just very chaotic and disorganized. So poor Liz was on the end of the like, oh, she was absolutely wonderful. And it did remind me, when I was an annual pass holder before, I was like, oh, this brings back familiar feelings, because I remember trying to get tickets for like the annual pass party. All of those things were really stressful. And I was like, I remember this part of it now. But I'm very excited to kind of go back and see what it's like with the Disneyland pass. Of course, I'm lucky because I've just bought the annual pass before they do the increases. So I've actually gone for the bronze pass. I went for the bronze pass because originally I was going to go for the silver because I was like, okay, you'll get the discount on the restaurants and the shops, and you get like 300 days out of the year where you can visit. And then I saw a TikTok where someone had the bronze pass and they talked about how many days a year they'd visited and stuff like this. And I was like, oh, maybe I'll look at the blackout dates because I don't go on the weekends and I don't go in school holidays anyway. And the bronze pass, those are the only dates that are blacked out. And the bronze pass is about €300 cheaper. So I was like, well, it's a no-brainer. So I was like, I'll just go for that. I don't get any discounts, but then would I get €300 worth of discounts over the year? I don't know. So I was like, we'll just hedge our bets. We'll save the money now. That'll be better to use on this February trip. It was €289. So that came to £261. And that's 170 days a year you can enter. And that's the thing, like, you could do one trip and buy tickets and it would cost that amount. So I think it's pretty good value, honestly. And I think that's the thing. If you can combine that with these super cheap hotels, I think you're winning. So that's going to be really, really exciting. So yes, we've definitely got February booked. That's happening. We're going. We'll see what happens with the pass holder previews, whether we can make that work or not. And then I have other trips penciled in. I've kind of booked hotels, but you don't have to pay till you arrive. And we'll see how it all goes when it comes to finances of how many trips I get to do. So I'm just very excited for this year, and I'm going to try and stay in a different hotel every time. So I think that would be really nice just to get a sense of like which hotels are great, which ones have good locations, good amenities. This one's more basic, but it's a really good price. This one's a bit pricier, but it's worth it, stuff like that. And like I say, try a few different locations as well, because I see a lot of stuff in Val d'Europe, which I think makes sense because it's the closest. You've got this massive mall, loads of restaurants, Primark, all of these amazing things. But there are hotels in other locations. So I think that's going to be so much fun. And like I said, I booked it as a package. So I booked flight and hotel with Expedia. It was actually a really, really good price because I had priced up doing it individually and you did save money doing it as a package. So I was like, okay, perfect. We'll just do that then. And yeah, I've been really impressed by how cheaply you can kind of do it. And I think that's the thing, isn't it? Like, especially with the cost of living still going on and things going more and more and more expensive, being able to find a way to visit Disney more affordably is great because you don't want to have to skip going. So if you could find a way of doing it where you're still getting to have a great experience, but you're saving money and then you can put it towards things during your trip or more trips, that's the way to do it. It's going to be perfect. So yeah, I'm very excited to share all of this. I think it's going to be so much fun. And also the thing that's going to be really interesting is there's going to be loads of new content from it. So I've obviously done videos of how to get from Charles de Gaulle to Disneyland Paris, but now I'll be able to do like how do you get from the airport to Val d'Europe, how do you get from Val d'Europe to Disneyland Paris, what's it like to stay off site, what's it like to have an annual pass. There'll be loads and loads of things like that. So if there's any topics you'd like to see specifically, it could be about anything, but if it, about staying off site, do let me know. We can absolutely make videos about that. That's something that I'm really excited for this trip, because the past two trips have been so much fun because they've been themed with Halloween and Christmas, and there was so much going on that you just want to be able to experience all of them. However, when I go in February, as it is me, and you will all be aware, whenever I book a trip, Disneyland Paris go, when's she going? Right, brilliant. Start that thing just after she leaves. The same thing is happening. So in February, 2 days after I leave, A Million Splashes of Colour and Minnie's Dream Factory turn up. Of course they do. But because I'm going at a time of year where there's kind of not much going on, it's going to be fun just to kind of go and do the classic things of all of the fun rides, character meets, those things. But I'm actually going to go out there and film a lot of planning videos, but in the parks, because obviously you're used to seeing me talk in my living room and then insert footage from the parks over the top, whereas I think it's going to be so much fun to actually just film in the parks. And also it's easier for me. I'm currently editing this Disney World character dining video, so I talk about all of the 12 character dining meals. I then break down the hidden gems, the ones that are worth a visit, the ones that are overrated, and tips. It's only 12 character dining restaurants. I mean, that is a lot of restaurants. I've been creating this video for over 2 weeks. So the idea of being able to film in the parks and it'd be much quicker and also much better backgrounds, and you can show people firsthand what you're doing as you're in the parks, I think that would be great. So if there's any topics or videos you would like to see about Disneyland Paris, do let me know, because I'm desperate to be filming more stuff in the parks so that they'll be just much more interesting to watch, whilst also being able to get the tips and the information over, which will be so much fun. I'm going to jump back. I feel like I've missed out on all of the comments, so I will have a little jump back to the comments now, and then we'll go back to talking a bit more about the trip and the rest of the year, which is going to be so exciting. Oh, let's have a little look. Jess said you survived on chips and salad in Tokyo Disney a couple of years ago. Hopefully it's a bit better now for vegan food, because that's the thing, isn't it? It's the dread. And I remember even Disneyland Paris was like that, and the difference in a few years at Disneyland Paris has been huge. So hopefully that will be amazing. And because that's the thing, like, I also love Asian food of all sorts. So I'm like, if you could get to indulge, it would be the dream. It'd be so good. Lisa said you survived on popcorn in Tokyo. That's the thing, isn't it? Hi, Sammy Rose, how are you doing? Your first trip of 2026 is Disneyland in 23 days. Driving from Northwest England, currently working on my Disney playlist for the 9-hour drive. What a dream! Have the most amazing time. It's so exciting. It's so close as well. That's going to be so much fun. And it's great you're talking about transport, because that's something else that I'm considering switching up this year. Because obviously I normally always fly, and one of the questions I had from Team Confetti, who is here or was here, was why do you not take the Eurostar? And I think this is a great question, and I also love the Eurostar. I know you said you loved it, and I also love the Eurostar. However, it's a bit of an, I was gonna say arse-ache. It's night time. I can say arse-ache, can't I? It's fine. It's after. I was gonna say it's after the watershed. It's not, but you don't mind. We're all adults here. It's fine. Getting from Portsmouth to London, it's not far, but the trains take a long time, and there's always delays now. And like, best case scenario, it's a half an hour delay. You can cope with that. With the meetup that I did, it was a 5-hour delay, and I nearly dropped dead from stress. And the thought of thinking, oh my god, I'm going to miss the Eurostar, I'm going to miss the Eurostar, I'm going to miss the Eurostar, is one of the reasons I haven't done it. When I used to get on the Eurostar, it was when it went from Ashford, and I really, really hope they will bring that route back. I have heard that Virgin trains are apparently going to be taking over some of the routes. They want to start going across to Europe, and they've said if they did that, I think they would go to Ashford and Ebbsfleet, which is interesting, because that might make the Eurostar then go, we better compete. So if they ever brought those routes back, immediately I would do that. Because the other option is to go to London the day before, but then you have to stay in a hotel and it's really expensive and all of that stuff. But I would like to go on the Eurostar. So I'm thinking about if I could get like a later Eurostar in the day. So if maybe I did a bit of a longer trip, so that the first day I could really just focus on travel, and then get the train from Portsmouth, get to London really early. I don't care if I have to sit in St Pancras for hours and hours and hours, as long as I'm there. Then the Eurostar, a dream. But also, I've never driven, and that is something, again, I'd like to do. My cousin, she's got a little boy now, and they've been to Disneyland Paris a few times. They've literally just come back, and they've been driving over there, which obviously makes sense. If you've got a baby, it's so much easier, because you can take everything you need. There's no restriction on your luggage or anything like that. And I'm like, oh, I think it'd be so much fun. And something that I'd love to stay, which I haven't been to before, is Davy Crockett. I know Liz loves it. I've loved watching her videos about Davy Crockett. She stayed there recently in the brand new lodges, which look absolutely incredible. And if you have a car, that's a fantastic resort to stay at. So that would be amazing. So I think this year would be nice to maybe see different ways of getting there. I think the downside, because I do solo trips, I'm like, it's quite a long drive for one person. But again, if you can get a cheap hotel, maybe stay the night before you get the Eurotunnel. It's not called the Eurotunnel, it's called Le Shuttle, isn't it? The Eurotunnel is the tunnel. That would be pretty cool. So maybe that's an option. And I know people have said once you get to the other side, not, like dead, but like France, that it's really easy. It's like basically one long road. It's a toll road. It's not too expensive. Lots of service stations that you can stop at. I know that Liz loves stopping at the service stations and getting all of the stuff that they sell, stuff from the specific region you're in France, which I think is really, really cool. So yeah, I think it would be really fun to kind of try all these different new things. So I'm kind of really looking forward to this year because it's going to be lots of new experiences, and hopefully that'll be interesting. But also hopefully it'll be helpful if you're thinking about doing any of these things and you've never done it like me, and then you see what it's like for someone doing it for the first time. So that should be so much fun. Oh, and Disney Chalk has said, how easy is it to cancel a Disney World trip if the political situation worsens? Is there a refund exchange policy for park tickets, hotels, flights? So what I would say is Disney themselves, it depends how you've booked, honestly. So if you've booked anything through Disney, so say you've booked a hotel and ticket package, Disney are very good at, you can postpone trips, you can change dates, anything like that. The only thing that would change is if the price changes. But if the price goes down in price, you'd save some money. But if it goes up, obviously you would pay the difference. But you're able to change dates very easily. The one thing, if you've bought a Disney package that includes flights, the flights are kind of like, they're stuck in the mud. So I think it depends on how you book and who you've booked with. I think it also depends if there was like an actual situation where it was recommended not to travel to America, then your travel insurance would cover it. If it's more of a personal choice, I don't think your travel insurance would cover it. But then if you have the flexibility with having booked through Disney, for example, perfect. If you've booked through a travel agent, they might also be able to change your dates. They might have a fee to change your dates. Disney kind of don't do the fee. They just carry over, say you paid a deposit, they'll just change the deposit over to these new dates. So I do think that's really good with Disney themselves. I've had that before where last year, so in 2024, I'd booked to go back to Disney World next year, but I knew I wasn't going to be able to afford it. So I'd moved the dates to a future year. And yeah, it was super, super easy. One phone call, took a few minutes, perfect. So yeah, it's really good to know that there is flexibility. You don't have to worry like, oh my god, am I going to lose everything? But yeah, I would say it definitely depends on how you've booked, and who you've booked with will depend on what happens. But that's one of the reasons I'd like booking with Disney, or even attraction tickets. I find attraction tickets are really good as well. I've booked with them a few times, particularly Disneyland Paris as well. And I know obviously they do Florida. I've booked Universal things with them. They're also really, really good. And I have to say, the only time I ever had like any sort of like hiccups was when I was in Florida and Hurricane Ian turned up, bloody Ian. And also, whenever I think of Ian, I think of Ian Bill. So I can't take a hurricane seriously that's called Ian because I just think of Ian Bill, and he's not a threatening person. Whereas Hurricane Ian was actually a very, very devastating hurricane, especially for the coasts. And I'm like, but we needed a stronger name because Ian wasn't cutting it. But was supposed to go to Halloween Horror Nights, and the Halloween Horror Nights was cancelled. So I contacted attraction tickets the following day, or the day that it was announced everything was shutting. And I wasn't expecting to hear anything from them because I was thinking they're going to have so many people contacting them because there are people that have booked hotels and they can't get there, or they need to stay longer, and loads of things. So I was expecting to wait ages, and it'll be after I've come back weeks later. They literally emailed me back within like an hour, and they were like, all sorted, you're getting a refund. The refund turned up a few hours later. It was absolutely amazing. So they were very, very good. So I'd highly recommend, like I say, if you're booking with a company like that, they're also quite good with flexibility, which is awesome. Oh, let's have a little look. Hi, Victoria. Lovely to see you. How are you doing? Thank you so much for joining us. It's always lovely to hear from you. Yes, birthday twins. Very exciting. Super exciting. Going to Disneyland Paris at the end of September on a solo trip. Looking forward to seeing World of Frozen and how Disney Adventure World will be after the name change. Loving that you're doing a solo trip. And yes, it's going to be so interesting, isn't it, to see just how the park, because it feels like where they're not just opening new lands, but the whole park is being rebranded. It really feels like a special year. And I just feel like, yeah, there's going to be such a different feeling, a different atmosphere. And that's actually something else is going to be interesting with this trip, is it's going to be my last visit with the Studios Park. So I'm like, if there's anything, I did a couple of trips ago buy a Studios Park t-shirt, because I was like, in like 5 years' time, wearing that in the park is going to be so much fun. But I'm like, oh, if there's anything else, we might get some more pieces of merchandise. Every single time I go, I see this artwork. And they have one for Walt Disney Studios Park, they have one for Disneyland, and then they have a Ratatouille one. But I'm like, maybe I take the plunge down. Maybe I get the Walt Disney Studios Park one as it is, because that'll be gone soon. So yeah, that's going to be really interesting as well. It's like the final time to say goodbye. And look, we've already seen like them starting to take down the signs and stuff. So yeah, it'll be really interesting to see like what it's like just before it all changes. Oh, Mason, this is a great question. What would you want to see if Disney built a UK park? Oh my god, that would be so much fun. I think what would be really fun is they could obviously lean into like UK themed things like 101 Dalmatians. Like, can you imagine if they had, oh, like Mary Poppins? Like, they could have like whole little lands where they really kind of theme it around London and have references to these things. I think that would be so much fun, particularly because a lot of those things don't get so much attention in other parks. Of course, Disney World were going to have a Mary Poppins attraction in the UK pavilion, and that kind of went quiet once the pandemic came about and they've had to do some cutbacks. But if they had a UK park, they could absolutely do that. I do think it's interesting because when they were looking at building a European park, they looked at Spain, France, and the UK. And then they ended up doing France because it had the best connections for transport, whether it be flying, trains, stuff like that. And it was always interesting because I was surprised they didn't go to Spain, because Spain, the weather would be more reliable, more consistent, easier to deal with. But it does make sense that France is probably more connected, more central when it comes to transportation. So yeah, I think it's interesting. It's interesting that the Universal have decided to go with the UK. And again, I think that's going to be really beneficial for us because a lot of people are then going to be using like the Eurostar, and if companies like Virgin Trains do routes from Europe to get over here. So I'm hoping because of Universal, they might also open up Ashford and Ebbsfleet again. Because it's just going to be an exciting time to go on a train. It's going to be so good. But yeah, that's a great question. What would everyone else like to see in a UK park? And I kind of also like the old school stuff that you still have in Disneyland, actually. But I used to love Toontown. We had like Mickey and Minnie's house and like Mickey and Minnie things. Because obviously they're like the icons of the park, but you don't really have like attractions or stuff to do with them. But that's something that they used to have in Disney World. I love that they still have it in Disneyland, and getting to meet Mickey in his house. Well, his is a film studio, Minnie's was in her house. Like, it's just so cute and it's so nice. Like, you could have attractions to do with like Donald Duck or something. Like, I would love something like that because they're like the icons of Disney as a company, but they don't really have attractions. And I'm like, that's interesting. So I think that could be really, really fun as well. And of course, we're getting villains in Disney World, and I've been desperate for them to do something to do with villains for ages. So I'm like, more villains, just more villain lands everywhere would be amazing. We also know that in the coming years they will be doing a third park at Disneyland Paris. It's part of the agreement with the French government that Disneyland Paris have to do that. So what do you think they will do there? Is there any lands you'd like to see? Again, I would love it if they did like a French-centric land. So if they had the Aristocats, Hunchback of Notre Dame, Beauty and the Beast. I can't believe Disneyland Paris have never done anything to do with Beauty and the Beast. Honestly, I can't believe they're missing a trick. And obviously Tokyo now have like an amazing Beauty and the Beast land. So I would love to see that. And I think also people would be really keen if they did something to do with Star Wars. I don't know if they will do a full Galaxy's Edge because I think it's just such a large investment. Like stuff like Rise of the Resistance as a ride cost $500 million just for the ride. So I don't think they would ever put something of that much money into Disneyland Paris because it would just be hard to reap it back. But yeah, what do you think they will do? These are great questions. Oh, Fairy Godmother, aka Liz, has said, have you ever done any of the after hour events in Disney World? I want to try one in Hollywood Studios in May. So I have been unfortunate because whenever I've visited, it's the time of years where they haven't had the after hour events on. So I've always missed out. And I think that's the thing that is really great though, because if you go like Halloween, Christmas, those sorts of seasons, they have those parties. And if you go other times of the year, they have the after hour events. Because I think I have been in May before, but that was before they were doing the after hour events. But I love that because you get to do so much. It's quieter, like it just feels like such a more relaxed vibe. And I feel like it's a bit more of an adult vibe because I feel like families, one, with kids, it can be hard to kind of be like, let's stay up till really, really late, which totally makes sense. And second of all, if you're already paying to go to the parks in the day, you're not going to really pay for an after-hour event. So it can be quite nice because it's a bit more like adult as well. But that would be really, really cool. And I think Hollywood Studios would be a great part to do it in because there's so many big rides and the queues can be so long. So to go and there'll be far fewer people and you just get to experience the park at night on all these amazing rides would be so good. So do let us know what that experience is like. And they used to do the Villains After Hour event, and I wish they'd bring that back. It's been gone for a couple of years now. And I would love to experience that because that looks so much fun. It's so good. Let's have a little look. Lisa said she'd love to do a week and a half in All Stars, rope drop Guardians every single day, and then stay till park close, and then 5 or 6 days at the Polynesian doing all the fancy stuff. That's like the dream itinerary, isn't it? Like, it's perfect. I think that's the really nice thing because sometimes staying at a deluxe resort for the entirety of your trip is just really expensive. So being able to do like a shorter experience, but then fully get to take in everything on offer there is perfect. And then mixing it up with like an all-star resort. And this is the thing, like I keep seeing, particularly US guests saying, "Oh, it's just like a Motel 6," and I'm like, I don't think the all-star resorts are like a Motel 6. They're definitely like nicer themed. They seem like just nicely kept. I actually love the All-Star resorts. I think the theming is really cute. I love that they're easy to walk around because some resorts are so big, whereas these, like wherever you're staying, like, I've typically stayed at like rooms right at the very back of the resort, and it's like a 5-minute walk to reception and the restaurant, shops, all of those things. Like I think they're amazing. So yeah, I have really no complaints. I think they're really fantastic rooms. I'd never feel like, oh, I'm staying in a really cheap accommodation and like it's just a place to lay your head. I always think they're quite nice. So yeah, I'm like, oh, this. But like you said, I think it's the dream, isn't it, to do a split stay? And it's just so good. Jordan, you said booking through the US site is such a hack. You're doing club level at Coronado and saved over £1,000 compared to the UK site. 100%. I think that's the thing. A lot of people don't realise you can book. Like, there's no restriction to your location. They don't go, you have to be from the US to book via the US website. As long as you use a VPN and go on that website, then you can access the offers that they have on. And like you say, saving £1,000 is huge. So that's so exciting. And that could be really good because sometimes the UK offer isn't that great. So like the free dining, if you're staying at a value resort, isn't that good an offer. But they might have a better offer on the US website, so it's worth checking and then seeing what works out best for you. And yes, it's so exciting to have an annual pass again, and I'm very excited because, like I say, last time when I had the annual pass, so both times I've booked via the French website, and back then you had to buy your annual pass 3 or 4 weeks before your trip because they would need to send the physical pass to your house, and obviously it was coming internationally. Whereas now, literally seconds after you buy it, it's already in the app and you can scan into the... I mean, you can't because you have to book reservations and stuff, but you could immediately kind of go into the park as soon as your pass is valid, which is fantastic. I would say the only caveat is with the bronze pass, and they do have it in the small print, is that you can only book 1 day with your reservations. You can't book 2 consecutive days. So what I've been able to do is book for the 3rd and the 5th and the 4th of February. I haven't been able to book yet because it would be a consecutive day to the 3rd. But once I've scanned into the park on the 3rd, then I'll be able to book the 4th. And luckily, because of the time of year I'm visiting, there won't be any problems with kind of reservations. The only time really you would have problems with getting reservations if you... Because the downside with the annual pass, I think we were all hoping with the changes, they might change the kind of... You can only book 3 days at a time, which is really annoying. I don't have any problem with booking reservations. It's just a 3-day thing that's annoying. So if you were doing a longer trip, just be aware, you could book 3 days and then you'd have to book the rest of your days going forward. The only time that could be a problem is like public holidays or potentially some weekends. Like I've been sometimes on a random like visit in May and the Saturday has been fully booked. But I was staying at a Disney hotel, so it didn't matter. But if you had an annual pass and you hadn't booked that date, you might not be able to get in. So there's a little things to be aware of. But like I say, because I've got the bronze pass, I can't go on the weekends or public holidays anyway. So it really shouldn't be a problem, which is great. Oh, thank you so much, Jordan. Love your Disneyland Paris vlogs. I can't wait to see what you get up to this year. And yeah, I think it's gonna be such a big year for Disneyland Paris in general. And it's also really exciting to be visiting in a completely new way, trying all these different hotels, having the annual pass again. So I just think it's going to be so much fun. And that's the thing, like, I know we talk about this a lot, but people are always like, why do you keep going back to Disney? And I'm like, guys, you don't understand. Every single trip is different. Like, I don't think you ever go and it's a like copy and paste trip. And I think that's one of the reasons it's so much fun, because everything is always different, which is just the greatest. But this year it's going to be really different at Disneyland Paris, so I'm just so excited for all of that. Oh, Victoria, you said you stayed at the Moxie and really liked it. It's so close to the train station as well. And yes, I can't wait. They look like really, really cool and fun hotels. And like I said, I've never stayed in one in general, so I think this is going to be the perfect time to go and stay in one. So I'm glad you had an amazing experience. And then Mason said you're excited for Disney in Abu Dhabi. It's going to be so cool to see the differences to the other parks, but hopefully not too expensive. And yeah, that's an interesting one, isn't it? Because there's obviously a lot of controversy about having a park in Abu Dhabi that is a Disney park. I know this when it was first announced, there was obviously a lot of kind of discussion in the Disney community of who's going to go, who's not so keen. Obviously, there's a lot of theme parks already out in Abu Dhabi and Dubai. So people have been and they've had those experiences. Other people aren't so comfortable. So yes, and it's definitely an interesting choice, I think, for Disney, because on the one hand, if you talk about the values of the company, but then you go to somewhere that don't particularly match the values of your company, it is a bit like, why would you do that? But money talks. I think that's what Disney are kind of going for. Of course, they also want to kind of reach a new market, a different market. But there's obviously a lot of discussion about, is that worth it if you're going to compromise what you say you believe in, and can you keep saying you believe in those things if you then do actions against those things? And it's a whole thing. But some people are going to be super overjoyed to go and visit. Some people might skip it. So yeah, it's just very exciting. But so I'd love to hear what you're all thinking. Like, are you excited for Abu Dhabi? Have you been out there and gone to like the other theme parks? I've heard they're pretty dead. Like, you can kind of just go and they're very, very empty. So no queuing, which is a great experience. I'm sure Disney, there will be longer queues than other theme parks, just because of the nature of Disney and it being such a novelty. But yeah, it'd be interesting to hear what everyone thinks. And that's the thing, isn't it? It's just so difficult in this day and age, because like I was saying, even thinking about going to Disney World or Disneyland now, because of the political climate, it makes it a much more difficult decision about, do you go, do you not want to go, do you feel safe? Even if you think you're safe, do you still want to support things? Like, it's very difficult, isn't it? And I think all companies are having to navigate that, and sometimes they're going to make choices that some people like, some people won't like. It's a difficult time, isn't it? It's really, really hard. Oh, John, this is a great question. Which Disneyland Paris on-site hotel is your favourite? And I actually find this really hard, because I genuinely, honestly believe there is not one bad hotel at Disneyland Paris. I haven't stayed at Davy Crockett or the Disneyland Hotel. But I have to say, I did love Sequoia Lodge, because I think Sequoia Lodge might be a bit of a hidden gem in the fact of the price point, combined with the amenities on offer, like having the swimming pool and all of that stuff, plus the fact it's like a 1-minute walk from Art of Marvel Hotel. Now, obviously, one of the great things about the Art of Marvel Hotel is how close it is to Disney, and we always talk about that as being the big benefit of, apart from the Disneyland Hotel, it's the closest, 10-minute walk to the park. Sequoia Lodge, 11-minute walk to the park, but the price is significantly cheaper. So I genuinely think that might be like an under the radar choice. Of course, the next couple of years there will be construction, so that's something to be aware of, because if you go back to your room for like a rest in the afternoon, you might hear some noise if you happen to be near where they're doing renovations. So I'm like, at the moment it's difficult to know whether it's still like top tier. But I also love Cheyenne. I loved the Art of Marvel Hotel, and what surprised me about the Art of Marvel Hotel was the vibe. Because when you go to Disney hotels, they're always so much fun. They have the Disney feeling, and it also has that like buzz, but then you get into your room and it's relaxed. Whereas the Art of Marvel Hotel, everywhere in the hotel was just so relaxed. And I was like, oh my God, I've never been to kind of a hotel at Disney that was like that. So yeah, I feel like there's just no really bad hotels, but I do think probably Cheyenne, Sequoia Lodge, and I want to say Hotel New York, and then I wanted to say Art of Marvel, and then I just couldn't say anywhere. But I think they're probably my 3 favourite. But I love that I've basically named like half of the hotels that you could visit. I think Disneyland Hotel I'd love to be able to do one day, but I think it will be a once in a lifetime visit. And it's one of those things, like, I think it looks absolutely beautiful. When I've gone to visit the hotel and like the lobby and the shop, it's stunning. I think the price point is too high. Because if you think about other hotels in the world that are 5-star and at that price point, I think what you would get service-wise, etc., would be much more. But obviously, because it's in a Disney park and it's over the entrance to the park, that's why you've got the crazy price point. But it's one of those, like, I don't think it will ever be worth the money they charge for it, but it will be an amazing experience if you ever get to do it. But yeah, it's just it's a interesting price point. It is bonkers. But does anyone here have a hotel at Disneyland Paris and they're like, that's the one? Like, if I had to stay in any of them, that would be the one. But yeah, I think that's the good thing, though. You really can't go wrong whichever hotel you stay in. I've had great experiences in all of them. Oh, Ed has said, do you get early entry with bronze and silver passes, or is it just gold? So gold is the only pass that you get the early entry with, and that's obviously really great. The one thing I would say is I did a video about this recently, all about the annual pass, the changes, but also the way you need to visit Disneyland Paris to get the most out of the annual pass. And I would say the annual pass is only worthwhile if you stay off-site. Because where you don't get hotel discounts anymore, and occasionally throughout the year, they will go, oh, for the next month, if you book, you can get a reduced rate. But the room-only rates for the hotels are not that good. So if you buy the ticket package, you're only paying about €50 for the tickets for the length of your stay. So it's really good. However, if you go, I'm going to use my annual pass and book room only, you're only getting like a €50 discount. So the rooms end up being expensive, even if they go, oh, we've got a bit of an offer on. So really, you need to stay off site. So then, because this was my thought process, I was like, the gold is really expensive as a pass, but I was like, early entry. If I'm staying off site, will I use that often? Because obviously you're gonna have to get up really early, get the train, get to Disneyland Paris, and I was like, probably not. And I don't always do it, even when I stay at the Disney hotels now. Some days I'll skip it. Then it was also looking at the cost jump between the tiers. Would I save that much money with the discount on merchandise and food, or should I drop down a tier? Which is how I've ended up going with bronze, basically. But it can be good if you are wanting the full bells and whistles. With the gold pass, you get the early entry, you also get the photo pass included, and you get 15% discount on restaurants and shops. The silver pass, you just get 10% discount on restaurants and shops. All of the passes, you get free parking. But really, they've changed it so that the reason you're buying an annual pass these days is the entrance to the parks that you can have. They've taken away pretty much all of the benefits. They have added perks as replacements, stuff like the annual pass parties, although you do have to pay extra to attend them. And then the pop-up surprise meet and greets, but they can be very, very hard to book as well. And it's also, they kind of leave it quite late to announce when these things are happening. So unless you happen to be there, you probably wouldn't do a last minute trip because it might be too expensive to book last minute to go to those things. So again, like, they're perks per se, but they're not necessarily something that all annual pass holders get to use. So yeah, it's definitely worth looking at how you visit and which tier would be the best. Oh, Mason has said, I hope you get to do a video with Sam for God. It'll be so much fun. And I've met Sam in the parks before, and she is such a joy. She is so, so lovely. So I'm hoping this year to also bump into her. And it's always such a joy whenever you bump into anyone in the parks. And if you ever see me, please do come and say hello, because it's honestly one of my favourite parts, getting to meet people in person. So yeah, it'd be wonderful to cross paths with her again. And I'm hoping at some point me and Liz will be there at the same time. Me and Liz have gone for a few theme park day outs in the UK. And we've always had a hoot, so we're hoping that can happen. And it's been wonderful. I've managed to meet up with Lisa and Sarah when we were in Disney World. We got to hang out, which was just fantastic. So yeah, hopefully we'll get to kind of cross paths with people, which is another good thing about going to Disney now. Ed has said, I'd like to see how the tax refund thing works, if you can show that. So that would be really, really good. It's not something I do every trip, because you have to have had a minimum spend of €100. and it has to be on merchandise or things like that. You can't do it on restaurants. So if there's ever a trip where I spend more, which there probably will be, let's be honest, I think that would be really great to see. The good news is it's really easy. The app is so simple. You literally just fill in the details of your trip. You then take photographs of your receipts and it automatically does everything for you. You then have to keep hold of your receipts, and you are meant to keep the things that you purchase. They have to have their tags on, and if they're in packaging, stay in the packaging just in case they ask to see them. Now, I've never had it where they've asked to see, but they do recommend that. They do tell you on the app to do that, because if it's being used and they ask to see it, then they'll disqualify that. So that's just something to be aware of. But the good news is it's really, really simple and actually really quick. Like, once I got to the airport, you just scan the QR code that you have in the app. And I think like even later that day, I've had like the money in my account, which is unbelievable. So it's really quick and easy. So I think that could be a really good video. So if I ever go on a bit of a spending spree, I'll absolutely do that. Oh, I love Team Confetti. You've said amazing deal. We are dependent on school holidays and really wanted the extra magic hours because we can only go during busy periods. Not such a great deal, but better than cheaper than paying full price. And that's the thing, isn't it? If you are having to visit in weekends and school holidays, then the Gold Pass is actually great because, like you say, you're still going to be saving money. You're going to get to go more frequently because of that. And you get all of those extra perks. And because you have 365 days a year that you can use the Gold Pass, there's no blackout dates at all. The Gold can be really, really fantastic. And it's that thing, even if you do like 2 or 3 trips, depending on how long each trip is, the Gold Pass kind of totally works out worthwhile compared to if you were to buy a ticket. So that's really, really good in itself. And the fact that you get like photo pass, I think that's really, really lovely. So you get all your ride photos, character photos, any of the photo pass photography you see around the park, which is awesome. Ed said driving is so easy, you should definitely do it. And yeah, I think that'd be so much fun. And I am someone that does love driving. Like, all of my family have been drivers in that sense. So my granddad used to have a haulage firm, so drove lorries. My dad was a taxi driver. So like, just I always loved driving. Since the day I started driving lessons, I love it. I love it. So I think that'll be so much fun. And if you get some good tunes on, get a good playlist, get a good podcast, and then you're on your way. I think that'll be so much fun. And getting to drive on a train as well seems very, very exciting. It should be so good. Jose has said, when I go alone, let's have a look. Oh, sorry, I've done it again where I've lost my place. Here we go. When I go alone, I try and find a good price for the train and then go with other people I prefer to drive because you can split the cost. And that's the thing, isn't it? That's not something else to consider, because if you go with the car, when you split the cost with people, it's a really, really affordable way to visit. I think it's absolutely fantastic. So that's really, really good. Oh. Jordan has said you find driving really stressful, so can't think of anything worse. And I think that's definitely the thing, isn't it? And I think I'm lucky because I'm someone who I always drive when I go to the US. I've driven in Greece. So I have driven abroad before, so I'm quite used to it. So it's not so worrisome. The one thing that I haven't ever done is take my car abroad. So again, it would be really interesting to learn like what stickers you have to have for your car, the requirements that you need to make sure that you're compliant with like the laws and stuff with traveling abroad. But again, I've heard that's really, really simple. I think it's stuff like you have to have like a breakdown kit or something. There's like little things you have to have with you, and of course your car insurance needs to be covered, or breakdown insurance to be covered. But yeah, I think that'd be really, really fun. And yeah, I love driving. That's the thing. I also love, like, I have done a few road trips in America, but obviously before I was doing like YouTube, and that's something I would love, love, love to do again. Like, I didn't drive this one, but when I was 18, I did a 10,000-mile road trip around America. So I did a huge circle. Absolutely incredible 6 weeks. Like, saw so much. Got to visit half of the states in America. So many monuments. It was just absolutely wonderful. And there's still loads of places I'd like to visit. I've never been to Nashville. I'm desperate to go to Pigeon Forge and Dollywood. So it would be interesting. I'd love to do some more trips in the long run where maybe you start off in Florida and then drive to different places in the US, maybe go to Dollywood, stuff like that, maybe some other theme parks. I love California. It's an amazing state. There's so much to see and do. It's so varied. You've got mountains, you've got ocean, you've got theme parks, you've got stars, you've got nature, you've got everything. So I love California, traveling around. So I'd love to also do some like more driving trips around the US, which and I think that's the thing that's interesting about the US. If the political situation could sort itself out, resolve itself, it's such an amazing place to visit because it's so diverse. It's got every type of climate you can imagine. It's so many different things to see. Each state is very, very distinct with its personality. So many great things to see. I love American people. Whenever I go, I'm always blown away by how friendly and accommodating they are. And yeah, always have the best experience. So let's hope that everything improves for everyone. Because obviously you want people's lives to improve, most importantly. And yeah, it would be the dream. Also, I've never been to Alaska and Hawaii, and they're two like bucket list things I'd love to do. So yeah, there's just so much still to see. But there's also loads of places in the world to still. I'm desperate to go to South Korea. I'm totally on board with watching all of the South Korean TV shows, the movies. I'm normally someone that just listens to the same music that I've listened to as a teenager, but I've started listening to like K-pop. I'm dipping my toe in, and I just love it. I just love everything about it. I need to go. I think it's so interesting. So it's been wonderful, and that's something that would be great to mention. So, obviously, at the end of last year, we tragically had the loss of Adam the Woo, which was unbelievably shocking. And still now, I keep thinking, oh, he's probably just gone on a break. Like it still doesn't seem comprehensible that he's passed away. But something I've been doing, like I was someone that's watched him for 10 years. And there would be periods where I would dip in and out of videos, and then periods where I'd watch every single day. So like obviously his recent European trip, I was watching all of them. And last year, seeing him travel all over the world, and he'd been to South Korea and stuff, it was so wonderful. And I think that's the great thing with vlogs, isn't it? Like getting to kind of experience the world or your hobbies, the things you're interested in through other people's eyes and their videos is so, so wonderful. And that's the thing, like when you're not doing those things, it's great to be able to watch videos of other people doing it. And I think that's one of the amazing things. Like it's so horribly tragic for him to have died so young, and someone in such their prime of their life and had so many plans and was so excited for, but he's left such an incredible legacy of videos. And also, you know, he's a pioneer on YouTube when it comes to vlogging, but also content about theme parks and content about filming locations, all of these things. And to know that we will always have thousands of videos to go and rewatch, or something you haven't seen ever, and that's so, so, so wonderful. But yeah, his videos have always made me like, oh, I need to get back on the road, I need to go do more of those things. So I'm very excited to kind of do some more driving videos. I think that would be really, really fun. And Marie's like, Ian Bill, which is true. If I hear Ian, that's all I'm thinking about. And I'm like, you're not intimidating enough. It's so true. Lewis has asked, I know this is about Disney, but what are you thinking about Universal UK? I think it'll be so good. Always wanted to try one of their parks. I am so excited. I'm 100% with you. I think it's going to be wonderful. And it's going to be amazing because, one, obviously we know Universal parks are fantastic, but it's going to be state of the art. Like everything's going to be brand new. I'm really excited to see what IPs they choose. Obviously, there's lots of rumours floating around. So there's a lot of talk about Lord of the Rings. There's a lot of talk about Back to the Future, which I personally would love. Because obviously they did have Back to the Future in Universal Orlando, but that's now Simpsons. But I would love that. There's talk about Wicked being a land. I've heard James Bond. Like, there's a lot of things floating around. Interestingly, Harry Potter, they're like, that's probably not going to happen. And I know that's partly because the studio tour, they're like, it'll be competing. But I'm like, I don't think it's competing. I think it's complementary. I think people will go to both. I don't think people will go, oh, we'll skip over the studio tour. Because it's an entirely different thing. Like, going to the actual sets and seeing the props where the films were made is entirely different to a theme park. But I think it's going to be incredible. I am also so excited because we know that they're having Halloween Horror Nights. I am overjoyed. I just cannot wait. And I just think it's going to be great for the UK. I think it's going to be really interesting to see what Merlin do, because Merlin already are kind of in financial trouble currently. And it could go one of two ways. This could either be a fantastic boost because more people are going to be coming to the UK to visit Universal. And then they might also go, let's go to Alton Towers, let's go to Thorpe Park, let's go to Chesington. They'll go to other Merlin attractions. Or it could go the opposite way, that it completely wipes them out, because Universal have already said they're going to be open 365 days a year, whereas obviously the Merlin parks are shut for part of the year. It's just going to be state of the art. It's going to have like all of these big IPs. So it could go one of two ways, but I think it'll be really interesting. But I just think it's such an exciting time for us, and yeah, I cannot wait. I've already said this, but we're obviously doing a meetup. I mean, it will be in like 5 years' time, guys, but we're doing a meetup at Universal, so put it in your diary. It's happening. Also, Halloween Horror Nights, we're doing a meetup for that. So if you ever wanted to go to one, do it. And I think it's that thing. A lot of people have also said, what's the point of having Harry Potter if you've got it in Orlando? But I'm like, there's loads of people that will never have the opportunity to go to Orlando. And to give European people the chance to visit a Harry Potter land in the UK where it is set, I think would be amazing. So I really hope they do kind of change that up and have it, because I think that would be really, really good. And the one in Orlando is incredible, because it is like being in the Wizarding. Because when you go to the studio tour, you're aware you're in sets, right? But when you go to Universal Orlando, you feel like you are in the Wizarding World. The immersion is amazing. So I would love it if people get to experience that here. Oh, Jose, you said you've done After Hours in Magic Kingdom. It was great because I got to see Harmonious and Heavily Ever After the same night, and got to do almost every ride, which is amazing. What a dream. Like, that's perfection, isn't it? And that is something I also love, that the fact that they do both of the fireworks, that's just amazing. So that's just so much fun. Lisa said you're not excited about Abu Dhabi, and it's one of the worst decisions Disney have made. You've been to Abu Dhabi and Dubai and disliked both cities, and you went to Ferrari World, which is lame. And I think this is the thing, isn't it? It's such a contentious and controversial decision by Disney. And I think that's why there was so much discussion, because it just came out of left field. Because again, it's kind of that thing, if Disney is saying we stand for this, this, and this, and then going to countries where those things aren't a thing, you go, but you can't really believe that. Or you're saying that you're willing to compromise those for money, and that then becomes difficult, because a lot of people will go, well, can I trust a brand? Because that's the thing with Disney, isn't it? Disney's always been a trusted brand, because there's some companies, like whatever Amazon do, no one's going to be surprised, right? There's some companies you go, whatever they do, I wouldn't be surprised if they did that. There's some companies where it's built on kind of like the trust and the values and this and the other. Once they start deviating away from that, you start going, can we trust you anymore? Or are you just saying things to get people to put money into your company, etc., etc.? And I think that can be the difficulty. And I think that's going to be interesting to see how Disney navigate that, frankly. Jose has also said you've been to Dubai and Abu Dhabi. Couldn't agree more. The only thing I thought was great was the fact that it was a desert 30 or 40 years ago. And Lisa said it once had history and some character to it, and now it's just a lame city for rich people. And I think that's the thing that is interesting. And of course, the thing that is a very pressing issue is the fact that there is a lot of modern day slavery and indentured servitude. And most people that currently work in theme parks in the UAE are indentured servants. And, Disney as a brand, you cannot be doing that. It's just unfathomable that Disney would ever think about doing something like that. So you really hope that they look into it and they are making sure that they're paying people correctly, that people have their rights, they have their passports, they're doing it of their own accord. And I think that's the difficult thing, isn't it? It's and I think that's why it became so heated in the Disney community, because some people are like, yeah, but I'm just excited for a park, what does it matter? But I'm like, it's one thing if you kind of go culturally it's different and maybe I wouldn't visit because of the culture. But when you're talking about stuff like slavery, it's like, I don't think we can kind of just brush off slavery. I think we have to take that seriously. And we're very lucky that, it's not something we have to think about day to day. But it's hard with tourism, isn't it? Because you do want to make sure you're kind of using your money for good, but you also want to be able to experience the world. And again, it's that thing of weighing up, like, what for you feels right. So yeah, it's a really interesting thing, and I think it's going to be really interesting in the next couple of years to see how that progresses, what Disney do, and stuff like that. Yeah, and Jose, you're so right. The fact that everything is so big and so grand, but it was a desert 40 years ago is mind-blowing. And that is the thing, isn't it? The fact that these like mega cities have just kind of rose up out of the desert, and you have all of these things now. It's crazy when you think about it, because that is not a long period of time at all. And yeah, the transformation is so incredible. And then, like you say, though, it is that, does it feel a bit soulless? What were the ethics of when they were building it? And it just makes it really complex, doesn't it? It's really, really hard. But Jose said, can you go to the annual pass parties with all of the passes or just the gold one? Annual pass party you can go to with any pass. The only thing you have to do is buy a ticket. So it is annoying that you have to pay extra. And they are hard to get. So I did go to one annual pass party at Disneyland Paris with my pass before. We were just so lucky that we were there. And in the lead up to our trip, they went, oh, we're doing an annual pass party on the day we were there. So we were like, perfect. It was one of those things, like, you had to be on a queue online for hours and hours and hours, but we finally managed to get tickets. And I have to say, it was brilliant. Like, we went and they were doing, it was in September, and they did a Halloween themed party. It was unreal. The queue times were minimal, like almost everything was walk on. They had live music. They had villains walking around, but not just villains. They had like the old hag from Snow White trying to give you an apple, and like rare characters that you never ever see. And I would say, I don't think I even saw, I think I maybe saw 2 or 3 children at the beginning of the night. And because it goes on quite late, it was basically just like an adult night at Disneyland Paris. The vibe was so different to in the day, and it was amazing because it was just like all of these like adults were just so excited to be in Disney, and like everyone was like talking to each other, and it was lovely. So I have to say, I really, really loved it. I know some others have been a bit more hit and miss depending on the organisation, but I have to say we kind of didn't have too many problems. The only problem we had is you were supposed to be able to if you had you could go in the day, a ticket to go in the day, and or a reservation, that you were supposed to be able to get your wristband from a designated place. However, that wasn't the case, so we had to leave the park and join the just general queue, which took ages. So that was the only thing that we found difficult, because we also got different information from different cast members, but that was literally the beginning of the night, and then the rest of the night was really great. So I really enjoyed that. So again, it would be one of those things, it would be nice to go to one, but I think it would probably be more like if you were, I don't think I would go specifically for one just because of the outlay of the cost, because they only announce them like 2 or 3 months before they happen. So you're having to always get like last minute transportation or hotels. And I don't think the hotels are always too bad, specifically off site, even last minute, but it's the transport. But then that could be when driving could be a good option. So we'll have a little see how it all goes, which is so exciting. Yes, Lisa, you're so right. We do have to go to Phantasialand. That would be absolutely amazing. Am I saying that right? I feel like I don't want to be one of those people that's mispronouncing it. And then you don't want to also be one of those terrible people, you know, like who will say everything in their normal accent, and then they'll say one thing in a that's a word that isn't English, but then they'll really, really emphasize it, and then you're like, calm down. But it looks like such an amazing theme park, so it'd be so much fun. And I'm so glad Jose's also been and loved it. And that's the thing, we could absolutely do a meet up in another theme park, because that's the thing. There was something I was also considering, is if I drove, there could be the option of doing like multiple theme parks in one trip, because if you get the Eurotunnel, Plopsaland in Belgium is like a 45-minute drive away. So I'm like, never been there. And then from Plopsaland to Efteling is like a 2.5-hour drive. So then you could like go from Plopsaland to Efteling, and then I think it is about 4.5-hour drive to Disneyland Paris, but you would just like have a travel day. Then go to Disneyland Paris, come back, maybe go to Park Asterix, like, because there's loads of like theme parks in that kind of area. So I'm like, we could do, if we've got a car, could do a little like road trip but theme park edition, which I think could be really, really fun. I've never been to Park Asterix. In fact, I've never been to any of those parks. I've never been to Efteling, which I'm desperate to go to. Plopsaland sounds hilarious, not just because its name's amazing, but I've heard that it's got some really, really great rides as well. So yeah, I think it's gonna be so good. Oh, thank you so much. I've got CLCG UK 90. Is this to do with no, I got really excited then. I thought it was a program that I was watching, and I was like, could this be to do with that? Because I watch so much reality TV, it's absolutely embarrassing, but I'm obsessed with it. I'm obsessed. But thank you so much. That's so, so lovely. Jose has said a road trip across the US sounds great. I'm thinking about it for a few years now, and yeah, it's just wonderful. Like it's a country built for driving, so it's really easy to do. Gas is really cheap, and there's just so many amazing things, and even stuff like I remember we were driving, and there was a 200-foot statue of the Jolly Green Giant, the sweet corn man. That was brilliant, and I was just like, there's all these little roadside attractions, and yeah, it's just so interesting, and yeah, and like I say, there's just so many amazing places to visit, and so diverse. And one of my favorite places I've ever been to is New Orleans. I've been there a few times now. I'm desperate to go back. Like it's absolutely it's probably one of the most fascinating places I've ever been, and one of the coolest places I've ever been. There's really nowhere else like it. You know, you visit some places and you're like, oh, this is a cool like big city vibe, or like this has like a cool like indie vibe, or whatever it is. There's nowhere like New Orleans. It's such an amazing blend of cultures, but also so very unique to New Orleans. And yeah, it's absolutely fantastic. And I would love to go back there. Like there's so many great places to go and visit. So yeah, if you're ever considering doing a road trip, you can make it work. I would definitely do it. It's a really great way to get to see the US and experience it. Victoria has said it's been really weird not seeing Adam the Woo video updates. Like you said, I was just thinking maybe he's taking a break and we'll be back soon. And yeah, I think that's the thing, isn't it? Like it's incomprehensible. And this is what I was saying to my friend Liz, because she was also someone that watched him every single day. And I think that's the thing. Like, because he was a daily creator, it's so abrupt that it really brings into sharp focus how 1 minute you're here and 1 minute you're not. Because, you know, I don't know if anyone had seen his video from the Saturday with the Grinch, which was an absolutely incredible vlog. It was absolutely hysterical. And he was great. In great spirits, healthy, well, everything amazing. And then to know the next day, he went out, had a great day. I do know his friends have said that they have edited that video, so that vlog probably will come out at some point. But then that night just to pass away, it's so jarring, because you go, but that doesn't make sense. Like I saw him and he was fine and well and having the best time and living his literal best life, and it's just incomprehensible, isn't it? That literally we all know that 1 minute you could be here and the next gone, and it's not a given that you'll see tomorrow, but it was just such sharp focus of that, and I think that's the thing. It's then so hard to process, and it does just feel like, oh, maybe he's just taking a little break, because you know it's so hard to do daily vlogs and to create all that amazing content day after day after day. So yeah, it's just been so shocking. But I have to say, like, what's been really nice is a lot of his friends have been doing like amazing tribute videos and kind of doing a lot of videos about him. I've been watching a lot of Justin Scard and German in Venice. Adam's dad has been doing videos, so it's been really nice. And I think that's the thing, like he not only was amazing at what he did, he was also an amazing person. And kind of hearing so many wonderful stories and everyone having something lovely to say, and just how welcoming he was, encouraging he was. You know, what an amazing legacy to have. So yeah, I just think it's amazing, but it's just so shocking. So I'm still watching him daily, but just going through videos from all of the years. You know, he was doing it for like 15 years. So we're lucky we've got such a extensive backlog of videos to watch. But yeah, it's just it still can't get my head around it. It's completely incomprehensible. But it's also so nice because being able to talk, we all get it. But I think people that don't watch YouTube don't understand, because like obviously we're all kind of aware, like if a celebrity dies and how people feel, and sometimes, you know, that could be deeply impactful if it's someone that you've really enjoyed. But also celebrities, there is still a disconnect, because say it's an actor, like you've watched them through their work where they're playing a character, and then you might see some interviews around that time where it's them, but then you won't see anything for a long time. Whereas Adam, it's literally every day. Like, I saw Adam the Roo more than anyone else in my entire life. Like, I don't see anyone else every single day. And I know it's via a screen, but I think that's why it's been deeply impactful to so many people, because he was part of your daily life. So yeah, it's just utterly tragic. It's so sad. But it's so nice that we all kind of, people who've watched him get it and know why it's just such a loss. But Victoria, I also agree, the Merlin Parks could absolutely tank, because they're just not going to be able to compete with the level and standard of Universal. And I think that is the thing, because also the thing they've got against them is the fact that their parks are established, but that also means they're older. So some things are naturally going to be a bit wear and tear, not a state of the art, whereas Universal are going to come in and everything. Because that's the thing, because my ranking of theme parks, I'm not trying to trash any theme parks, but I always think of Disney as like top tier. Like, they're in their own category. I don't even think Universal really come close, because Disney, it's the immersion and the feeling that they create in their parks, which I don't think anyone else really does. I do think Universal, the past couple of years, like the Wizarding World is where it really started to try and compete with Disney with that level of immersion. And I'm desperate to visit Epic Universe because I still haven't been, but it feels like they've done that with Epic Universe. So if they kind of do Epic Universe immersion in the UK, then no one can compete, right? It's just not going to happen. Because that's the thing, I always think like Disney are in their own tier, and then I think out of theme parks worldwide, Universal are like the next tier. And then obviously you have amazing theme parks like Six Flags and stuff like that. But Six Flags and the Merlin parks I think of as more like normal theme parks where you go for the rides and stuff. Whereas I do think Universal, it is the next level because of the theming and stuff like that. So yeah, I do agree. I think it is going to be really tough for Merlin. It will be sink or swim, but it doesn't look good considering they're already in trouble. It's like they'll either have to really invest a lot to kind of bring up the standard of the parks to compete, but at the moment they don't have that. So I don't know. It's going to be difficult, isn't it? Really difficult. But yes, Anne-Marie, totally agree. Adam was a good guy and still can't believe it. And I think that's the thing, isn't it? I think a lot of people feel the same. It's just like, how is this a thing? And but yeah, it's so wonderful to know. And I think that's the thing, isn't it? What a testimony to who he was, that all of the kind of things you've seen online have been really, really positive, which I just think that's the most amazing thing. Perfect, Lisa. I'm pronouncing Phantasialand in an acceptable way, which is good. It's so good. Oh, Jose, you work in Efteling. Oh my god. Okay, well, I definitely need to come now. That would be such a joy to get to meet up in person and come and see you. And it just looks wonderful. It looks so like whimsical and like charming, and just the rides look great. I just think it's gonna be so much fun. So I definitely need to go. And I'm like, it's taking me too long to get there. Just need to go and do it. Yes, Disney Chalk. You would highly recommend Port Aventura. And Port Aventura was a theme park we used to go to a lot when I was a child, and I haven't been for ages. But it's so good. And I think obviously I was there ages ago, and now it's even more than was there when I was there. I also love that, like, you would be in the theme park for a couple of days, then you'd go to Salou and go to all like the nice beaches and have like a holiday. Like, that would be absolutely amazing. What would be so good? Oh my god, I love this. Okay, guys, we've all got to go to Efteling because we need to go, and I would not stalk, but go and say hi to Jose at work, which would be amazing. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear this. This is such a what a sad situation. So CLCG UK has said, it's so sad about Adam. My friend celebrated her 30th anniversary on the beach, and then she passed away 30 minutes after getting home. Their memories will live forever though, and through others, and their love for them. And that's the thing, isn't it? Like, you know, we all know realistically, like you were saying, that it's not a given. And but I think it's almost like we kind of accept that people either die of old age, an illness, or maybe an accident, and the accident is the one where people pass suddenly. But it's like that's not the only options, guys. And there's nothing more of a stark reality. But then when it happens to someone you know, and like you said, the thing that's amazing is like what an amazing celebration that they got to have at the beach, and then it's utterly tragic, but also how wonderful that's her lasting memories were of a wonderful, wonderful day. And yeah, it's terrible. But it's also that thing of like, it kind of gives you that push to be like, don't take any day for granted, because, you know, and I always said this, and I mean, it's become a little bit of a toxic phrase, but I always have said you can always earn more money, but you can't earn more time. And I still stand by that. currently I'm in the I need to earn more money phase though. So I've been really making those memories for the past couple of years, and now I'm like, oh no, we need to do the money bit now. But I do agree. I always think if there's an opportunity for you to go and do something, do it. And I've done things before, like there was a band that I like, and I managed to get a ticket to go to see them do a preview show of their tour, but it was 2 days later. So I just found a way. I was like, do you know what? I'm just doing it. I'm going to book a last minute flight, last minute hotel, and I'm just flying to Lithuania. I'm doing it. And like, it's one of those things, like, it was probably a bit of a reckless financial decision, but you also had those memories. So yeah, I very much think, and like when you've had these tragedies happen, it really puts that into focus that, you know, it's like I've never understood it when people go, I'll do that when I retire. And I'm like, it's not a given. It's not a given. If there's something you want to do, but also like you might not be as able-bodied, like even like I'm nearly 40 and like things are different now. Things are harder to do. So you just think, you know, do I want to wait another 20 years and then is it going to be even harder to do? And I'm like, nope, just do it now, do everything now, and then have no regrets, and then, you know, have no money, but it's fine. We'll get more money somehow. Yeah, and you know, it's not really a toxic phrase, but the earn more money bit does have to come at some point. You have to keep that in mind, which is perfect. Yes, I love that everyone's like meet up at Efteling. That would be amazing. Jose could be the guide, which would be, how wonderful would that be? That would be so much fun. We should do this. This would be so good. And yeah, I think it's one of those parks that so many people always rave about and really enjoy. So I feel like we all need to go because that could be so much fun. So I will definitely keep that in mind because that could be a really fun meet up this year. That'd be so good. And yeah, it's just a joy, isn't it? And that's the thing, like, I am used to planning trips very far in advance. So when I had my old job, so you knew how much money you were getting in every single month. And so I would save up because I knew how much money I would have to budget for trips each year. And then I would be able to plan 2 years, like, this is where I'm going to go, what I'm going to do. And then obviously, since switching to self-employment, you do not have that. You do not have stability. There's very few times that I can save money. Most of the time I'm using my savings to cover my expenses. So this year is also going to be interesting to me because I am someone who plans many years in advance. So kind of living a bit more on the edge of your seat and doing things a bit more, well, for me, last minute. I think will be really, really interesting actually, because it kind of does give you a bit of freedom in that sense. Like, I don't like the idea of not knowing 100% in concrete, these are the dates I'm going and stuff like that, but also it gives you that flexibility of going, like I was saying, like, oh, well, maybe if I do the Eurotunnel, we'll go to Plopsaland, Efteling, Disneyland Paris in one trip. That would be amazing. Like, it kind of opens your world up a bit. So that's going to be really, really interesting. So I'm very much looking forward to that. Let's have a little look on here. What else do we have? Oh, Lucy had asked, what show do you recommend the most? And I think I don't know if this is about, well, I'm assuming it's about Disneyland Paris or Disney World. And it's so hard because the thing is, I think Disneyland Paris do the best shows out of any Disney park I've visited. They are genuinely amazing. And the two I always love the most are Together or Mickey and the Magician. I'm just always blown away by both of them, and they're very different. So Mickey and the Magician is great if you're looking for Disney, and obviously Together is great if you're looking for Pixar. But again, I think all of the shows, like Rhythm of the Pride Lands, the Lion King show, absolutely amazing. I know for a lot of people that's their favourite show. I'm really excited for Minnie's Dream Factory because I loved Disney Junior Dream Factory, even though I had no idea about Disney Junior. Loved it, loved the concept, loved the characters. So what's happening now is it's going to be Minnie, Chip and Dale, and Daisy, I think. So no Disney Junior characters anymore. Minnie's now in charge of the Dream Factory. Love that. She's an entrepreneur. It's fantastic. And there's going to be brand new songs. So I just cannot wait. I loved that because that was one of my favourite things to go and see at Disneyland Paris, even though it was very clearly aimed at kids. I just thought it was amazing because it had such an inspirational message again. But I would say out of the big shows, I think Together or Mickey and the Magician in Disneyland Paris. And in Disney World, I have to say I really did like the new villain show, Villains Unfairly Ever After. And I like that it has a different outcome each show because you get to vote how it ends. So I thought that was really fun, and as a Villains fan, that was just fantastic. But I also think, I do think it's so hard because their shows are very diverse. I do love the Indiana Jones show because if you like stunts and like, oh my god, wow, like spectacle, that's fantastic and it's very different to anything else you'll see. Also, I do love Festival of the Lion King. I think that's so much fun. If you love the Lion King, that's really, really good. Again, I don't think there's any bad shows per se. There's none that I would skip over. No, I don't think there's any I've skipped over. There's some shows that I don't see as much. Like I don't go to the Nemo show as much, and it's because I don't. It's not that I dislike Finding Nemo, but it's not one of those films that I go back to regularly. However, I have to say, every couple of trips, I'll think I'll go and see it again, and then every time I'm like, oh my god, it's amazing. Well, I haven't seen this sooner. So again, I think that's the thing. But if you've only got time to see one or two, I would say if you like stunts, definitely do Indiana Jones. If you're looking for more a traditional show, Festival of the Lion King would be great. And if you love the villains, Unfairly Ever After is amazing. And I would love to see how that. I am really curious to see how long that stays, because I'm wondering if once Villains Land opens in Magic Kingdom, this is my theory and or idea if Bob Iger is listening. Or Josh Tomorrow, who's most likely going to be the next CEO. I've got a feeling once Villains Land opens that the villain show will shut and that area of the park will become Muppets. Because I think, obviously, Rock and Roller Coaster is becoming Muppets this year. I think that show could then become a Muppets show. So kind of like Muppet Vision 3D, but like a new updated version. I wouldn't even mind if they did that again because I loved it. I think it was so sad that it was Jim Henson's legacy project and they've destroyed it. Because I was like, there's no way they're going to destroy that because it was Jim Henson's final thing he ever worked on. And they were like, legacy? Who cares? And I'm like, me, I care. Why have you done this? But I'm wondering if eventually that will become like a Muppets area, which I think would be really cool. And then all of the villain stuff would be in Magic Kingdom. So I would absolutely love that. That would be so, so good. Oh, but this is a good point. I'm going to move my phone over because I can't quite see the the whole comment. Jose said, I hope the Dream and Shine Brighter will come back. And I totally agree. Dream and Shine Brighter is the best parade. I'm absolutely obsessed with it. And do you know what the problem is? I think the reason it hasn't returned already is because it was a anniversary show. And I think in their heads, they're like, we've got to keep it as an anniversary show. Whereas I'm like, people loved it, bring it back all the time. And I think Many and Splashes of Colour has come back because it wasn't an anniversary show. However, I think they should have brought Dream and Shine Brighter back. But, you know, they could bring it back in the lead up to like another anniversary, which would be so, so, so good. But that would be good. Hi, Peter! Lovely to see you. How are you? You've come at the perfect time because we were talking about Dream and Shine Brighter and A Million Splashes of Colour. And I know you love them, so it's so good. Jose said, Disney have said they've saved Muppet Vision to be used in the future. It has to happen. Because that's the thing, like, they would have like a new theatre. Because this is the thing that really blew my mind. I went and saw it when it was the Lightning McQueen show. And like there were seats, but there weren't loads of seats. And then you kind of had screens, like there were most of the room. And then you had a stage where Lightning McQueen would appear. And there was like effects and stuff, which was cool. I was assuming Disney Villains Unfairly Ever After was going to be the same. But on the stage, it would be villains. So imagine my surprise when I walked into like an 800-seat theatre, and I was like, where the heck has this come from? Like, I couldn't believe it. So the fact that they've got like a proper theatre, and here's the other thing that I would like to point out to Bob Iger / Josh Tomorrow. You need things at Disney that do not have a queue. So I get that they go, oh, but you never had to queue for Muppet Vision. Good. I don't want to be in a queue all day long. I don't want to wait 45 minutes and then 50 minutes and then 70 minutes and then 35 minutes. I want to go on some things where I will just go in and enjoy it. And particularly like shows, because you need to also rest your feet. So that's why attractions like Muppet Vision or Carousel of Progress are so important. Not just because of their legacy, but you need things where they have a high capacity, people can sit down for an extended period of time and they don't have to queue ages to do it. So that is my TED talk about what people need at Disney parks. But yeah, I think it's so important. So let's hope they do that. That would be absolutely amazing. Peter has said, me realising I'm 30 in 2028 and by then we'll have a new US president. Presumably. He shouldn't. Technically, I think you're only supposed to be allowed to do 2 terms, but who knows what's going to happen. So that should happen. But I mean, if it all goes to plan, then that would be an amazing way to celebrate your 30th birthday, because I think you would absolutely love Disney World. I know how much you love Disneyland Paris, and like Disney World is like everything on another level. And there's just so much to see and experience. So I think you would absolutely love it. So that'd be so good. And yeah, Jose, I'm so glad that you loved Unfairly Ever After as well. I just think it was so well done, and I loved that when you see it, there's a different outcome, which I think is so much fun that you get to vote and stuff. And I also love the concept of the villains kind of being like who has been most unfairly had their character assassinated, and like who actually you should really look at who they are. Now, I would say probably the person that's most unfairly judged is Ursula, because Ursula didn't read the small print, and that's her. Not Ursula, Ariel didn't read the small print. If she doesn't understand contract law, that's her fault. Ursula did nothing wrong. I will stand by that. So I think she's been unfairly cast as a villain, because actually she was just a business person who had small print that Ariel didn't read. So who's in the wrong there? It's not Ursula. Whereas, like, some people, when I went, the person who won was Cruella de Vil, and I was like, she skins dogs. She's not been unfairly judged. She's underjudged. She's horrific. She's one of the worst villains, guys. I think we're really underjudging her. And I'm like, oh, we all of it. But everyone's like, oh yeah, but look at her coat. It's so fashionable. She skins puppies. Like, are you listening to yourselves? It's gonna have a full-blown protest. What are you doing, guys? So it's just bonkers. I love that Lisa also loved it. You've also said that it's so nice to see Sage on stage as a friend of Hook, as an All Ears fan, which is so fun. And actually, I have to say, something that's really fun about people that visit the Disney parks, you have those lovely moments where, like, so I remember the last trip I did, I got so excited because within the space of about 30 minutes, I had TJ, when I was in the Tower of Terror, who is an iconic Disney World cast member, and then walked back up Sunset Boulevard, and I had Willie, the photopass photographer, take my photo. And I think that's so nice that when you are like Disney Parks fans, if you see like iconic cast members, if you see Grayson playing the piano outside Casey's Corner, iconic. Or if there's people that you have followed their content or stuff like that, and they're now working at Disney, or even if you just see them in the parks, it's really exciting. I remember I've never seen any of the US creators in the parks, and I'm desperate to see some of them in the wild doing what they do. It would be amazing. But when I was in Disney World last time, I did bump into Theme Park Worldwide, and that was so much fun. And there was just a quick little interaction, but that was so lovely. So yeah, it's always so fun, isn't it, when you have these little things happen, which is perfect. Oh, I love that. Everyone's now like, we've got to go back. We've got to go see Hook. We've got to go back until we get it. And Pia has said, will I ever do a cruise? And the reason I haven't done a cruise is because I get motion sick. And out of all of the motion sicknesses, seasickness is the worst. And I also have a metaphobia. So I have a phobia of being sick. So if you have motion sickness and a metaphobia, it is like an actual nightmare. And the thing is that if you're in a park and you go on a ride and it makes you feel ill, it's over in 2 minutes. You'll suffer for the rest of the day, but the ride itself will be over in 2 minutes. If you're on a cruise, you are stuck. And that's the one thing that's really put me off. And I know obviously you can get the patches and stuff like that, but I'm like, unless you're a motion sickness person who knows like what remedies have worked for you, what remedies haven't worked, I just have such a fear that I would go and then the remedies not work. And I'm not even kidding, I would literally have to throw myself overboard because I could not, there's no way I could actually be sick from seasickness and it lasts days on end. I would literally rather expire. I could not cope. So that's one of the reasons I haven't been, because I don't know if I will ever do a cruise. I did do a cruise as a teenager with my family, like a 2 or 3 day cruise. And this was before I used to get motion sick. And I remember being up all night feeling really ill, and that was way before, because before I suffered from motion sickness, I could do anything. Like, I had been on like terrible boat journeys where like everyone's being sick and I was absolutely fine, didn't even feel unwell. I could go on absolutely any ride over and over and over again, like the glory days of non-motion sickness. But now I just think it would be almost impossible. And the thing is as well, I'd be so scared and the whole time be so nervous about, am I going to feel sick? Is the boat going to start getting rocky? What's it going to be like overnight? That I don't think I would enjoy it. And particularly because of how expensive they are, if I paid all that money and then the whole time I'm stressing myself out, and then the worst comes to the worst, if there was any like bad weather and I got motion sick, it would just be the end. It would just be it. I couldn't go. Which is the worst thing. Oh, but yes, I got so excited to answer that I choked. But Lisa, I think you're so right. It would be really interesting if at Unfairly Ever After they do switch up the villains, because I was thinking the same, because I feel like at the moment it's always a competition between 3 villains, but they obviously do have the option to switch it up, which I think would be really, really fun. And it would also keep the show fresh, because a lot of people, obviously Disney World has a lot of local visitors, but then a lot of people do try and visit every year, every couple of years. So to keep it fresh, it would be good. If you have a show where it has a different ending, you do need to switch that up. So I think that would be really, really fun. Jordan says, will you go see Unfortunate in the West End? It's an Ursula parody musical opening in a couple of weeks. And do you know what's so funny? It's a couple of times it is toured near me already. And it's always been times where I've been away, so I've just missed out on it. But it does sound really good. And I think that would be really fun to see. And, you know, we're getting Ursula's side of the story. And the fact it's a parody, I think it would be amazing. So I think that'd be really, really fun. Lisa, still can't believe I randomly bumped into Jin last time, which is so cool. Like, how much fun is that? And it's really funny because when I went in September, I also saw Jin, which is just wonderful. So it's so lovely that we all met up together, and then separately we've met up with her again, which is so good. Jose, you met Resort TV1 on your last trip and a few people from All Ears. And yes, that's the thing, isn't it? It's so much fun when you've been watching people, particularly people you've been watching for a long time, to finally get to see them and meet them in person. And yeah, it's just such joy. And I know, like I say, for me, it's such a joy getting to meet people and like putting a face to a name and getting to interact. So yeah, if you ever see me, do come say hello. And I know sometimes people will say, oh, like they'll message me and they say, oh, I saw you filming, so I didn't want to say anything. But don't worry about that. Do still come up to me. I would never ever be offended to do come up, because it's just such a joy. And to be in Disney as well, it's just the absolute best. Jose said you bumped into Emma Sage and Quincy at Blizzard Beach 2 years ago. And Lisa says Emma is your favourite, which is so fun, isn't it? Like, it's the absolute best when you're just like, oh, they're in the flesh, they're here. And it's so fun because especially when it's people that do it all the time and they're in the park such a lot, and you've seen so many of their videos, to actually see them doing it live. I remember something that was always so much fun is me and Peter did a trip together, and it was the first night of our trip, and we were like leaving the park, and I was like, oh, we're just going to film the outro just outside the Disneyland hotel. And then people was like, oh, I'm here live to hear the outro. And I was like, oh my god, it was so much fun, and we kind of did it together. And I always think that's so much fun. But that's always a memory that really stuck out to me. So that was just so wonderful. And it's one of those things, like, I get so used to saying it that you kind of forget that it almost is like a way that you always end the video. Because it's just becomes so natural to me, like, that I don't even think I would forget to do it. But I feel like if I did forget to do it, it'd be really noticeable, because you'd be like, well, hang on a minute, she hasn't wished me to have a most magical day. What's she doing? Which is so funny. Jose also saw Sam for God at Efteling, but you were at work, so I couldn't say hi. That's the difficult thing, isn't it? When you're just like, oh, you're so close, but I can't do anything. Jordan met Adam Hatton on a solo trip in Orlando last year. And yeah, it's just so fun, isn't it? When it's been people that you've been watching and getting to finally meet them in person, and it's just the best. But Jordan says it's so true. Other than that, I'm just not observant enough to spot people. And I do think that is a big part of it, because when you're at Disney, you're like, oh my god, like, look at that over there, look at that over there. You don't really notice other people per se. So it has to be one of those moments where, because when I met Theme Park Worldwide, I was in the queue for Winnie the Pooh. and I'd spotted them ahead of me in the queue, and I thought, oh my god, how exciting. And then they were loaded into the queue for their actual vehicle seats. But at that ride, they do, or in fact, a lot of Disney World rides, they'll have like the next group that are going on, and then the group that are going on after them. And I ended up being put behind them, obviously, but going on the ride after them. So just as they were waiting to get on, we had a little quick hello and conversation, and that was really nice. But that's the thing. Otherwise, when you're walking around the parks and doing things, you definitely don't notice people because you're just like, oh my god, this is happening. Although this is something that's very interesting, because I was watching the other day, German in Venice went to Hollywood Studios, and he hadn't been for like 30 years, and they were looking at all of the handprints outside Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, aka the Chinese Theatre, and his content is mostly in Los Angeles, Venice Beach, stuff like that. So he does a lot of stuff to do with pop culture. So going to Man Chinese Theatre, but in Hollywood Studios, was obviously interesting. And he'd seen the handprints for Michael J. Fox. And this was another amazing memory. When I went when I was 12, which was the second time going to Disney World, we were there the day Michael J. Fox did his handprints. And I remember, because we saw like people starting to queue up, and we didn't know what was happening, but we thought, oh, was there a parade? What's going on? And then they had a Cadillac, and Michael J. Fox was sat on the back. And it came past, and we got to like wave at Michael J. Fox, and then we saw them from like a distance doing the handprints, and that was a really, really cool thing to kind of see. And I love that it wasn't like replica of people's footprints and handprints from Man's Chinese Theatre. They literally got people to come to MGM Studios, as it was then, and do that, which was really cool. So that was also a really, really fun memory. So it's just like, oh, it's so good. Lisa said, besides the famous people, everyone I've met in or through Disney is incredibly nice and lovely. And I totally agree. And that's why it's just the best community, isn't it? Because just people are so joyful, so lovely. We all have so many things in common. And it's just a joy. And like getting to do the meetup in London was last year was amazing, because so many of us came together. The meetups in the parks are amazing. And yeah, it's just wonderful. So we definitely have to do more of that, because it's just the best. And that's the thing, like, from this, like, genuinely, when I started my YouTube channel, I thought, if I could put some tips and advice out there, and it helps a few people with their trips, amazing. And I never ever really thought about getting comments, and I definitely never ever thought about having people that watch regularly. But also now, like, we message regularly and meet up, and like genuine real friendships have sprung from it, and it's just the most amazing thing, because I genuinely never ever really thought about that being something that would be a possibility, and now that's like the biggest joy. So yeah, thank you all so much for always coming to these and all of your comments and messages, and it's just absolutely wonderful. And I think that's the thing, isn't it? Like, now to know you have friends all over the world that have these things in common, and we all get excited about the same things, it's just the absolute best. So I never ever take it for granted, and I just thank you all so much, because it's been such an unexpected side effect of doing the videos, and it's become the best thing about doing the videos. So it's just, I absolutely love it. Anne-Marie said you met Adam, very nice, and we ended up chatting, and you've met Nate, Jackie, and Justin. So it's amazing, isn't it? And like, how fun to meet like the really big people, and particularly the people that kind of like originate it as well, that are kind of like the OGs, the people that have like really kind of laid the groundwork and have been the people that everyone's been watching for years upon years. And that's what I always think is really funny, is that any Disney people, you will name these people and pretty much everyone will know them, but outside of like the Disney YouTube thing, nobody knows them. It's like, I always say this about Mr. Beast. Mr. Beast is probably more famous than nearly any other celebrity on earth. However, it's so specific to YouTube. So like, I think across all of his YouTube channels and like TikTok and stuff like that, in total, across all of his platforms, he's got like 1 billion followers, subscribers, which is like 1/8 of the planet, which is nuts. And then obviously there's people that watch but don't subscribe. But if you are not someone that watches YouTube, people on Earth have no concept of Mr. Beast at all. I think that's so incredibly interesting. Whereas obviously someone like, I don't know, Tom Cruise, everyone's heard of, right? But when it comes to like amount of people on Earth who know who they are, Mr. Beast is one of the most famous people on Earth, but only to people that go on YouTube. Which I think is absolutely wild. But it's the same with the Disney community, isn't it? Like, well, like we were saying earlier, like when you go to Tower of Terror, and your bellhop is TJ. It's so exciting. But to other guests that are just there and you know, they don't kind of watch vlogs or behind the attraction or stuff like that, they have no clue. They just think, oh, this is fun. Like, what a great cast member. But it's just so much fun when you get to have these little experiences. Jose said you were at the first Jollywoods party this year. Of course, a lot of vloggers were in the park, but didn't see many. I just saw a lot of their vlogs of the evening later. And yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? Like an opening day of anything, everyone is out. And like you say, you would imagine you would see a lot of people. But it's funny how that happens where you actually don't see people. But then you're like, okay, well, I've got a lot of vlogs to watch now, which is great. Oh, it's so much fun. Yes, and I love that you all agree that it's just so nice that you get to meet so many people all around the world that all have the same interests, and you get to make friends, and like the fact that we're all talking about we've got to go meet up, we've got to go do this, we've got to go to Efteling, like it's just so much fun. And I think that's the thing, isn't it? And I also think it's something that's great because obviously, like way back when, like a couple of decades ago, like you would tend to make friends with people that were in your locality, so either your work or maybe your hobby that you do. And occasionally, maybe if you went on holiday, you'd meet someone and become pen pals and stuff. This makes me sound like I'm ancient. But like that's I think one of the great things about the internet is now you can literally have friends that you can immediately contact all over the world, and no matter what your interest is, no matter how niche it is, there's people that you can connect with. Whereas before, I think if you don't have people that have those same interests, it can be quite isolating. And I actually still find that actually I've always felt like a bit of an outsider, a bit of a alien type of person. And even like this weekend, I've been doing this. I go to this most amazing yoga practice in Portsmouth, and I've been doing yin yoga, so it's like really relaxing. And then I did like the sound bath. I did an ice bath earlier this year. Like Emily is incredible at all the things she does. But something she's been doing this year is called the intention space. So you can kind of set goals, and then each month you kind of do an online event where you kind of can touch bases and then do something to kind of really focus you on your goals. And then an in-person meet up, which is to kind of socialize. And we had the first in-person meet up yesterday. And it's one of those things, and I was like, oh my god, I stand out so much. Like, I don't know if my brain works differently, I don't know what it is. But I've just always been a bit of an outsider, a bit of a different type of person. So I find it hard to find, like, a tribe. And that's the thing that I found amazing about this. Like I say, like, I kind of went into it thinking, oh, I'll just do videos, and if someone could get some help from it, amazing. But the fact now that I've got so many friends in all of you, and we chat so much, and it's been a joy, the people we've already met up, and then I'm sure a lot of us are going to meet up in the future. It's just amazing. It's been so, so wonderful. So yeah, that is the joy of YouTube, bringing people together. And I think that's the thing, isn't it? And again, I think this is what people that don't watch YouTube don't kind of understand. Because, you know, in the younger generation, they don't watch TV and film. They don't care. They watch YouTube. And I think it's because with TV and film and stuff, there's always been a disconnect, like an us and them. People who have had opportunity, you know, and it's very hard to get opportunities, particularly to become a big star. But people that have had opportunity, and then they have fame and wealth and all of this. But it's also quite gatekept because the right people have got to say yes to you at the right time. You've got to get the right people in front of you. And, you know, to get to that pinnacle. But once you get to the pinnacle, you've got all of the fame, all of the money, but you're also very disconnected from people. Whereas YouTube is normal people filming on their phones, in their homes, stuff like that, and getting to talk to other people who love the same things as them. And I think that's why YouTube has become so popular, because it's not gatekept, and you can find your community online and then connect with so many people. And I think that's the thing, like I always say, like the Disney community is vast. And I never ever think, because a lot of people always say, is the heyday of YouTube over? Can you really kind of get success on YouTube anymore and stuff like that? But I'm like, I think YouTube is going to have legs. I think it's going to go on and on and on. But I also think that there's never too many of people. Like, of course, you do get, like, the Disney community is saturated with content creators now. But the reason why, or at least I find, the reason I watch people is because you really connect with them. So, like, oh my god, like, I like that sort of thing. I visit that sort of way. Like, I like those sorts of things. So then watching people doing those things and knowing, like, oh my god, I'd like to do that, is what makes you watch. And there's obviously a million different ways you can visit Disney. So that's why I think there's enough space for absolutely everyone. And then you just connect. And I also think, like, you watch lots of people. Like, I don't watch just one person and go, right, that's it. And I can't see anyone else. You normally watch loads of different people. You're finding new people. So yeah, I just think there's enough space for absolutely everyone. And I think that's what's great, is that everyone's all so different. And it's like, obviously everyone has their own little niches. Like, I do solo trips, and like, some people are couples, some people are families, some people are friends. So you'll connect based on that. Or, you know, there's a million different things. You know, you watch YouTube. But I think it's people that don't watch YouTube don't realize how like amazing that is, that no matter what you like, you will be able to find a community and then find kindred spirits and connect with them, which is just amazing. Whereas, like I said, like traditional media, there's always going to be a disconnect. You know, you're not going to be able to just like send a message to, I don't know, like Jessie Buckley, who should win the Oscar for Hamnet, let's be honest. But like, you know, and just chat. Whereas with this, I love that you have that and you can get to meet people. So it's just absolutely wonderful. Jose said the first meetup you went to was from a Flemish Dutch Disneyland Paris forum 10 to 15 years ago. I was so nervous because I didn't know anyone, but it was a great day. And I think that's the thing, isn't it? I think it is always so nerve-wracking going into a group where you don't know anyone. But the thing that's really wonderful is if you have something in common, like Disney or theme parks or something like that, you're already getting off on a good foot, because it's like, okay, we all love the same hobby. And then, like Lisa was saying, the Disney community is just so lovely. Like, the people are just so nice, and that's the joy about it. Is it's just like, okay, we're just gonna have a great time together. And I always love that you get to meet people from everywhere. So when we were in Disney World and we had Lisa and Sarah over from Germany, Jin had come from San Francisco, I'd come over from England, and we all get to meet up and like have a wonderful time together. And it's just so nice. And then we've all like kept in contact, and I love that we both then saw Jin again on our trips, and Sarah came to the meetup last year, and then I also saw her later in the year because she did a Disney cruise from Southampton, which isn't far from me. So we got to meet up again, and yeah, it's just such a joy getting to like have all of these amazing experiences and cross paths. So it's just perfect. So yeah, we have to do it. We have to do more meetups, and yeah, this is the reason that I love the live streams as well, because getting to chat, I just think, is absolutely wonderful. And there's nothing quite like it, is there, that you just get to actually talk in real time, which is so much fun. And especially about Disney, because that's the thing, like we said, it's always updating. There's always news. There's always things to be talking about. It never ever gets to a point where it's like, oh God, what can we talk about this live stream? There's always a million things to talk about, which I absolutely love. And again, it's those things that if you were trying to talk to like your friends or family, like, should they get rid of Muppet Vision 3D, or will they just move it? Other people don't care. They don't have an opinion on this, but I love that we can talk about it. And like, we genuinely are invested in it, and we have like all of these cool ideas. So yeah, I just absolutely love it. There's nothing like fandom. I genuinely think fandom is one of the greatest things, no matter what it is that you love, because it just brings so much joy. But like I say, it brings people together, and the fact you get to have these amazing conversations, it's just so much fun. And I do love that we've started a new year. I always love a new year because it genuinely feels like a new chapter, a new start. And like I say, this year's exciting because I don't know how it's going to unfold, but I'm very excited for that. I'm kind of very much like leaving things into the hands of destiny. Not that I'm not going to do anything. I'm definitely trying to like progress and, you know, kind of keep everything going when it comes to something I want to keep doing is like improving the thumbnails, improving the titles, making videos that are like interesting but also helpful, like topics that people want help and advice for. So like I say, if there's ever anything that you're like, oh, I've always had a burning question about that, or like, I don't know how to do this, do let me know. Because like we were saying earlier, like skip tags, that's a perfect thing to do a video on. Do always let me know, because it's always wonderful to be able to make videos that people enjoy. So I definitely want to keep growing the YouTube channel. Last year ended on an amazing high with like the back-to-back whammy of the amazing recommendation from Adam Hatton, which was unbelievable, completely out the blue. And then off of the back of that, I then hit the 5,000 subscribers mark. So I want to really just keep making sure the channel is improving, so the content's getting better, the vlogs are interesting, and I think that's going to be the great thing about this year, because it's going to be visiting in a completely new way, and hopefully it's going to be really helpful for people to also see. And I think it's going to be good. Something that I want to do for this trip, which hopefully would be interesting, is kind of, I've done this for a Disneyland Paris trip before, but also with Disney World, where you kind of show this is how much things cost, so you can kind of see if you do stay off of site, this is kind off of site, that's not what you say, is it? Off site. This is how much things might cost. So to give an overview of how much this trip is going to cost in general, I think that would be really interesting. And then, yeah, like keep on. I think last year I added a lot of services to the business part of Most Magical Guys, which was great, because I think now we've got a nice range of services that kind of help people no matter what they need. But it would be good to kind of now kind of try and grow the business, as in exposure, finding ways to kind of get the word out there so that if people need that help, they know there's someone that can do that. So that's definitely something. And then, of course, it's one of those things. It's like a big circle. Like, the more that I can get the videos to be helpful to people, and the more people that then watch them, the more income I get from that. Same with the services. The more people that I find a way to reach, if they need the help, then I can help them, and that will grow the business. And then all of that money goes back into creating more content, more trips. So it's like one big circle. So thank you always, like I say, all of the watching that you're doing, the comments, the likes, the shares. If you know someone going to Disney and you let them know, oh, do you need your dining booked? This person does that if you need it. Like, all of those things help so unbelievably massively. So thank you always for all of that, because it's so wonderful. And yes, Jose, you're so right. A lot of people don't have Disney friends in real life, and it's so lovely to have these chats, because, like, you don't have anyone to do deep dives and be like, well, what do you think about this? Why would they do that? And like, should they be doing this? What are they going to do? Why do they think that would be a good idea? And you don't get that with other people. They're just like, I don't understand why that matters. And you're like, but it does matter. It's so true. This is a great point. I'd love a cost video, and also if there are quiet places for anxious little beans. And that's the thing, isn't it? Because a video I did want to do is the walk, like this. They're not hidden, but like the hidden walkways around the parks, which make your life easier, more comfortable, less people. But I think actually doing like places that you can rest, places that are quiet, places that are calm, could be like a really, really good topic as well. Because I think there must be so many people that need that. And also I think if you're in the parks all day, I think everyone needs a moment of rest and calm, because you can't just be like, oh my God, I'm having the best day ever the whole time, because your body just is exhausted. So I think that would be amazing. Lisa said, this trip I'm going to meet up with a Disney friend who I haven't met up with in real life yet, even though she's from Germany. We're both solo travellers, and both of our birthdays are in the travel time, so we'll meet up for our birthdays. And that's going to be so wonderful. Like, what an amazing thing to do, like, to get to celebrate your birthdays together in Disney with people that have met, that, you know, don't live really near each other, but in the same country. But getting to meet up in Disney itself is just going to be the best. It's so, so wonderful. So yeah, that would be so fantastic. And yeah, I think that's the thing, isn't it? We're so lucky to kind of have this. And it's mad, isn't it? Because YouTube obviously started out quite differently. It was more like funny videos or silly videos. But now it's just amazing, the expanse of different types of video. Like, whatever you like, you will find a video about it, even if it's so niche. And do you know what I've always find interesting is what videos take off. Because sometimes I'll do a video and I always think, oh, maybe this one will have quite a broad appeal, and it won't do particularly well. And then one of the videos that's done the best is how to get from Charles de Gaulle to Disneyland Paris on the high-speed train. A walkthrough video. But I think it's stuff like that that's actually really helpful, because I know if you've never been somewhere before, like, that's the scary part of, like, how do I get places? Like, how much is it going to cost? Where exactly do I need to go? So, like, those sorts of videos that are kind of informational do really, really well. So I always think it's interesting as well to kind of play around with your content, because you don't know what will be popular and what will not be popular. So it's always great to see what takes off. Lisa, she said she wants to visit Halloween Horror Nights, so we'll do that on her birthday. And I want to dine in at Artist Point with Snow White and grab some drinks at GA82. I loved it there. The hummus is the best on property, fight me. I was desperate to go to GA82, my last trip, but because I went to Beacon Barrel and I was on a budget trip, I skipped GA82. I did have a reservation, but I ended up cancelling it. But I'm desperate to go back because it looks so good, and I definitely need to try the hummus. And I'm so glad you're both getting to do things you really wanted to do for your birthdays. Like, I'm obsessed with Halloween Horror Nights. is absolutely ridiculous. I'm already starting to see the speculation for this year, which is very exciting. So I would say if you are a Halloween Horror Nights fan, there are loads of great accounts where the whole year they will be talking about, oh, this could be a hint towards this, and there's rumours. Because the thing that's great about Halloween Horror Nights is, with the IPs particularly, Universal will have a lot of different ones in mind, and a lot of them they will be developing. But then what will happen is towards the event itself, a contract might not fully get together or something like that. So they could have an amazing IP that looks like it's going to happen and then it has to pull out. So it's great kind of seeing what could come, and then as you get closer and closer and it narrows down and down and down. So that's going to be so much fun. I love that CRC GUK has said, I'm always surprised at what my dad watches on here. I didn't know there were videos like some of it. And that's the thing, isn't it? Like, it's just bonkers the things you can watch. And I end up watching things that I would never normally watch. But you know, like sometimes down the side it'll just have recommended videos and you're like, oh, or on like your homepage, and you're like, oh, maybe I want to check that out. And then you go down like a wormhole and you're like, 4 hours later, why am I watching about sharks? And you're like, I don't know, but I love it. I'm having a great time. I've learned a lot. And I think that's what's really, really fun. And that's also something I like, is that if you go on your homepage, obviously you'll see videos from creators that you already watch and enjoy, but you'll also see creators that you don't know, and then videos that might be related or adjacent to the topics that you have looked up. So it's great because you discover these things you never would normally discover, and then sometimes it ends up being like your favourite thing. So that's always so good. I'm obsessed with watching reaction videos. Love watching reaction videos, and particularly if there's like a film that I've liked, I will then go and look up all of the people's reaction videos and I'll watch them back to back to back to see how different people view them, which is insane. But it's kind of like YouTube Gogglebox, and obviously YouTube was the place that started that, and that's where Gogglebox got the idea from. But I love reaction videos. They're so good. Lisa said, I've never been to Halloween Horror Nights and I'm so scared. I think I'm going to pee my pants for real. Not a fan of horror movies. I think you will end up enjoying it a lot, because I know the first year I went, I mean, admittedly, I do love horror films, but I hate haunted houses. And I was very nervous the first year of like what I was going to be like. But it's one of those things that sometimes you will get a shock and like, scream. But then the second afterwards, you're laughing. And it is such a hoot. And it's also really funny because what's interesting about Halloween Horror Nights is sometimes you'll be like the target and other times the people in front of you might be. And it's hilarious then seeing their reactions. And this past year that I went, I was never really the target. It was always the people in front of me. And it was so much fun seeing people like jump and scream. And I was like, oh my God, that's what people saw with me last year. I was that person. And it's just so enjoyable. Because again, it's that thing of like, you're having this communal experience with strangers. And what was nice is last year I was there solo. We would go into houses, and I remember we went to the Jason house, which was the scariest house last year. And there was a group in front of me, quite a large group of Americans, and I think that the person that was like at the back of their group, because you go single file, he'd kind of clocked that I was on my own. So every now and then he'd go to turn around to be like, oh my God, it's really scary, isn't it? So that you'd feel like involved and you were sharing the experience with someone. But what was really funny is just by chance, every time he went to turn around, someone would then jump out, but he hadn't noticed because he kind of turned around to talk to me. And then he'd turn back and they were there, and then he'd like really scream. And it was brilliant. It was absolutely wonderful, and it totally heightened the experience. So I also love that you're getting that experience with everyone, and it's like that fear, but then that immediate laughter and release, which is just wonderful. So I think you'll really, really enjoy it. And like the scare zones around the park are just really fun, amazing theming. And it could be that thing, like if you have the express pass, you'll get to do all of the houses in one night. If you don't have the express pass, you can pick which houses you want to focus on. And it could be like, oh, that one I'm not so keen on going on, so maybe we'll skip that. But this one I think sounds really fun, because they do tend to do a mixture of like scary ones and then ones that are more fun. So like the first year I went, they had Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, which obviously was more a fun one. Last year Five Nights at Freddy's was more a fun one. So I do like they have that mix. Oh, I love it. Me and my wife watched a video about the world's biggest gas station. No idea how we got there. That's the thing, isn't it? You do end up watching the wildest things. I remembered, I would never, ever, ever forget one of my favourite comments I ever had, because I was just like, this is so wonderful, and it made me feel so lovely. A lady, I'd done a video all about hiring a car in Orlando, like tips and tricks to get the best deals, what you have to look out for, like the rules of the road, stuff like that. And a lady had posted, she was like, oh, I've never been to Orlando and I don't drive. But I love watching your videos, so I'm now watching this and I'm really enjoying it. And it was so funny because I think we're all guilty of doing that, watching things and we're like, I don't know how this has happened. And particularly if it's someone that you already watch, you're like, oh, look, because I think once you get to a creator that you enjoy, just like with Adam the Woo, I would pretty much watch anything he was doing, even if it was something that I knew nothing about or had no interest in, because I was like, I enjoyed him as a creator. So I think you sometimes find that, and then other times, like you say, a video's popped up and you're like, I'll just take a chance on that, and then you're like, now I know everything about the world's biggest gas station. It's so funny, but I do love it, and that's the problem I'm now having. I feel like TikTok is like the fast food version, because you're getting like videos that are like 60 seconds long, and you're getting this, and it's become a problem. It's become a problem because it's just that like instant gratification. But I'm like, you've got to stop scrolling. But I do love it because you're just seeing videos of loads of different things. You're like, I would never have looked this up, but now I'm invested in this stuff, and I love it. Lisa said, okay, I'll trust you that. I'm very nervous. We'll do the express pass. I think it's a once in a lifetime thing for me, but I thought that for Disney World in 2024, as not 2024, 2014 as well. And I think that's the thing. Like, I always love it when people go, it's going to be a once in a lifetime trip. And I'm always like, it won't be. I don't think I've ever met anyone that's done a once in a lifetime trip, honestly. And I always say, it starts off as a once in a lifetime trip and then it becomes a very expensive hobby. And I think we can all agree that that's what's happened to us. And the express pass is brilliant, and that's the thing. I think it's worth its weight in gold, because sometimes you'll buy things and you think, oh, it wasn't really worth the money. Halloween Horror Nights, I genuinely don't think I could do Halloween Horror Nights without the express pass, because with the express pass you have an enjoyable evening, because the queues that you go in are so much shorter. So it means you could just fit much more into your night, but you've also got time to sit down, enjoy a show, enjoy a meal, get drinks. Like this, you can just do the whole thing, and you'll get to do it all in one night. Whereas otherwise, because the thing is, like, the queues get so long for the houses. Like, people literally will go from a 70-minute queue to a 120-minute queue to a 60-minute queue to an 80-minute queue. And I just think I don't know how people do it. I literally couldn't do it. I literally could not stand and know that I'll go and do a house and it'll be like an amazing 5-minute experience, but then think, oh God, now I've got to do another hour plus queue. So the express pass is brilliant. It's so good. It's so good. Jose said, I've watched a few videos of Pixie Dust Mom. I thought it was just a family vlogging Disney trips, but she talks about taking young kids to Disney. I don't have kids and I watch every stroller setup vlog. That's the thing, isn't it? Because sometimes you will have that, because you're just like, this is not, because typically I never search out family vlogs, because the same as you, don't have kids, don't want kids, have never visited with kids, have no experience of kids apart from having been a kid. But every now and then there's people that you really connect with, and you're like, okay, now I'm watching. I need to find out what's going on. And like you said, how are we setting this stroller up? What's happening? It's so funny. This is so true, that Disney has always been an expensive hobby without adding visiting. Which is so true, and it's going to be amazing that October's going to be a once in a lifetime trip, and it's that thing of like gearing up to know. You think it's the once in a lifetime trip, it will never be the once in a lifetime trip. But it's just so good, and that's the thing. Once you get the bug, you're like, I have to go as much as possible. Like, it's just so good. So I cannot wait to hear what you think about it. And is there anything in particular that you're really looking forward to? That you're like, this is something I've always wanted to do, and I'm finally going to get to do it, which is just so fun. Lucy said, I'm going in a couple of weeks, and when you meet characters, I'm a bit nervous about the interaction. Do the characters lead the interaction? Because I'm worried about being a bit awkward. And yes, what's really, really good is they will absolutely lead. So don't feel like you have to come up with any conversation or anything like that. They absolutely will lead, which I think is really, really great. And some people are more comfortable with fur characters because there's no like talking, it's more like body language, and then you have a photo. Some people prefer face characters because you can talk to them, so that can be a bit easier depending on whatever you prefer. But yeah, never ever fear, they will absolutely lead it, which is so good. And I always think, if I'm thinking, oh God, should I say something? What could be really good is if you can either talk about them and their storyline or other characters related to them. So say you meet Winnie the Pooh, you could talk about Tigger or something like that, or what you've been doing at Disney, things you've enjoyed. But typically you don't have to worry about any of that because they will lead it, which I think is so fantastic and just so much fun. And you can have such hilarious character memes. So you have lovely, lovely memories, which is great. But yeah, I do love the characters. I think it's such joy, and that's something I've enjoyed about Disneyland Paris having the virtual queue. And the virtual queue is contentious because it's one of those things of if you don't get a slot in the virtual queue, you can't meet the characters. There's no other option. I mean, there are still standby lines if you want to meet people like Stitch, but obviously I'm not doing that. But if you want to meet characters, I never used to meet characters at Disneyland Paris because Mickey would be a 70-minute queue. The Princess is a 2-3 hour queue. So just never did it apart from character dining meals. So I actually really like the virtual queue. The downside is the really popular characters can be really hard to get. So both Halloween and Christmas, I never managed to get a slot for Jack Skellington, and there was no other way to meet him. So that was just not a possibility. So it swings and roundabouts because I do feel bad for people that are desperate to meet characters and they would happily wait, because if they don't get the spot in the virtual queue, they just don't meet those characters. However, I would say for people that don't want to or can't queue for hours on end, you then have a possibility of meeting characters now, which I think is really, really nice. And it's interesting because Disneyland Paris seems to be a crazy part for characters. It's much easier to meet characters in Disney World and Disneyland. I think interestingly, sometimes in the Asian parks, their queues are even longer than Disneyland Paris. I do remember years ago, I was working in the Disney store when it was Mickey's 90th birthday, and we were getting like updates from around the world as it was happening. And in Tokyo, the queue to meet Mickey on his 90th birthday was 16 hours long. So they were like, we actually have to shut the queue because it's longer than the park's open for, guys. Like, we can't, this is ridiculous. Now we've let too many people in the queue. We've caused a problem. But yeah, and I was just like, I mean, I literally wouldn't queue for anything for 16 hours, I don't think. I love Mickey, but I can't go. There's no way on earth. It would not happen. So I love that with the virtual queue, that does take that away in Disneyland Paris. So, yeah, it swings and roundabouts. So yes, I did used to work in the Disney store. It was only a brief one. So in Portsmouth, we had a pop-up Disney store, which was only for about 6 months. It was interesting because they did that over Christmas. And then a few months later, they announced they were shutting every Disney store down. So it's really interesting because they were kind of testing the pop-up stores to see if they would add more like Disney stores. And then, like, our Disney store was actually a really big success. It was always really busy, made loads and loads of money, did really, really well. But then immediately they kind of shut down all of the Disney stores afterwards. So, but it was so much fun. And what I think was great was because people come and they know what Disney is like and what to expect. And also, like, part of your training, you're like totally encouraged to talk about characters and films and stuff with people. So it's really fun because you get to have those interactions. And like, I remember, like, you would have moments that would really stick out. Like, there was a lady who came in and I was like, oh, do you need any help? And she was saying her first great-grandchild had been born, and the first film she ever saw in the cinema was Snow White. So she wanted to get something that was Snow White to give to the great-grandchild. And I was like, oh, that's so lovely because it's like generational, and how nice is that? And there was also a bit where we had a tiny, tiny, tiny little Star Wars section. And sometimes, like, you would be standing in that kind of area just in case anyone needed any assistance, any help. And you were allowed to have lightsaber fights with the kids, which is what a brilliant perk. And there was a little boy that used to come into the store with his dad, who was a wheelchair user, and you could see he was like a little bit of a shy kid. And I remember once I had my little lightsaber ready to go, and I said to him, "Oh, like, you know, have you been training with your lightsaber? Would you like a duel?" And so then we were doing our little, like, although I'd like to say he was a lovely kid. Loads of kids come in and they were trying to smash the heck out of you, and I was like, "Can we calm down? You're not actually trying to kill me. Can you calm down?" But like, this kid was absolutely lovely. And then I was saying, "Oh, I've seen you've been to the Jedi Temple," and he was like, "No, I haven't." And I was like, "Oh, the Force is strong within you," and like literally. I might as well have been Yoda. Like, you could just see his eyes light up. And like I say, I don't have experience with kids. So I don't know at like what age they stop believing stuff. But you can literally see that bit of magic where he genuinely thought, like, oh my God, like, maybe I am a Jedi. I have it naturally in me. And then every single time they'd come to the Disney store, he'd come and find me. And I loved that about it, because I think you don't get that in other jobs. So that was so lovely. So I love that. It was just a nice little memory from the shop, it was perfect. I love that. I've seen immediately. The first thing I can see is Lisa said Stitch has to stop, and I'm like, yeah, I don't. There's no other context needed. Stitch has to stop. It's so true. Jose loves Stitch. It's so good. But this is the thing that's really interesting. So like I said, I've been doing this video all about character dining at Disney World, and obviously you have Ohana, and it's a character breakfast with Lilo and Stitch. And then I was thinking, outside of that, you don't really have Stitch in Disney World. And I was like, the stark difference between how much you get Stitch at Disney World compared to Disneyland Paris is wild. Like, you'd think Stitch has something on Disneyland Paris, the amount that they're pushing him. It's kind of like he'll take the Empire down with the information he's got or something. Because I'm like, it's unbelievable. So, yeah, it's just bonkers, isn't it? Absolutely bonkers. But yeah, it's actually refreshing when I was thinking about it. Because I was like, yeah, Disney World, there's very little Stitch in comparison. And I'm like, oh, maybe that's why I like it. I've escaped him. Jose said, a friend once asked me my favourite character in a movie. I told her Stitch in The Lion King, and she gave me a Stitch plush and made herself, and it was so a Stitch plush that she made herself. That is next level incredible. That is actually, what an amazing gift, and like the amount of thought that's gone into that and time is incredible. I love that. That's something to really treasure. And Lisa, Ohana is still a good breakfast, even though Stitch is annoying. Do you know what? I was so lucky because I got to go in what I would consider the glory years when it was post-pandemic. So Ohana had reopened but was not character dining. And it was a $25, eat as much as you like breakfast, the exact same food you would normally get for breakfast at Ohana. And now it's about $52. And Stitch is there. So I think I was really lucky. The food, like you say, was absolutely incredible. It's one of my favourites. And I thought $25 for an all-you-can-eat breakfast at Disney World in a table service restaurant was not bad at all. And like amazing views, like absolutely incredible. So I totally agree. I do think that was great. I have to say, I did not think the dinner was that great. And I know over the years people have talked about like the heyday has kind of dwindled, like the food isn't as great. So it's one of those, I think it's still great for the experience. I love that you get the lei. I love that you have the ukulele player. Like, I think all of that's great. But I think dinner isn't as good as it used to be. And the breakfast food might be better, maybe? Although it is a breakfast. So it's not like you're going to get something that you wouldn't get somewhere else. Whereas dinner is a bit more unique. But, yeah, I do agree. It is good. Love it. Tonga toast is your favourite breakfast item in Disney World. Love it. Do you know what? I'm desperate to try Tonga toast. However, the only food that I don't like, I pretty much will eat kind of anything, as long as it's vegan, obviously. Can't bear bananas. And I wish I did, because I love that they come in their own packaging, which I think is fantastic. Love the colour yellow. Love that it's really filling and good for you. Cannot bear anything else. Cannot bear the smell, the taste, the stringy bit. What's that? Like, I can't cope. And I wish I loved bananas. So with the Tonga toast, do you think I would need to be a banana lover to love it? Or is it subtle enough that you could eat it and be like, oh, this is good? Or is it definitely got a banana taste? Which I'd imagine it would, because banana's like the key item. It'd be a bit weird if you couldn't taste the banana. But I'm like, I don't know if I can cope with the banana. Although I have to say, when I did the dessert party, you got a huge plate of vegan desserts, which was absolutely incredible. There was so much option. And my favourite thing was the chocolate chip banana bread, which I couldn't believe, because I was just like, how has this happened? So maybe I need to do Tonga toast. It's so good. Yeah, $25 was an absolute dream. And the glory days of no Stitch. I was like, I can't believe this. That's why I've lucked out. It's amazing. Oh my God, Lisa, Sebastian's Bistro, don't. It's unbelievable. I think it's one of the best value meals at Disney World. The food is so tasty. The vegan options are great. And do you know what I really like? It was one of the only, or possibly even the only place at Disney World where the vegan option and the non-vegan option are identical. Because you know sometimes you'll go to a place and they'll go, we've got this as the standard option, and then we've got the vegan option. But it's either entirely different, or you get less things and it's not as good. It's the only place it's identical. And the dessert, unbelievable. Don't. And I made the error once because everything is delicious. I could not stop eating. And then I got to the dessert and I had one bite and it was the best thing I've ever tasted. And then I couldn't eat anymore. And then the server was like, I'm going to have to box this up for you because you can't not have it. But I was so full and I was like, I will never make that error again. The great news is as well, if you don't go to Sebastian's, you can now get that dessert from Banana Cabana. Now, I think I should say that the American way. Banana Cabana sounds, but not, that was not an American accent, but the way they say banana, like it, you can't say Banana Cabana, it doesn't make sense. It's supposed to be Banana Cabana, but obviously being English, I would say Banana Cabana, so that doesn't sound right. But you can go there and get the dessert is what I'm trying to get at. We don't need to read about the pronunciation. Which I think is such a hack because it's delicious, but you will love Sebastian's, and I can't get over how good value it is. It being on the Skyliner route, it's just fantastic, and it's so good. Jose said, if you want Ohana dinner, go to Tambu Lounge and order a few things from the Ohana menu for a lot cheaper. That's such a good option, isn't it? Because then you're getting the dishes that you specifically want, but for a better price, which is just amazing. I'm glad that you said there's literally a banana running through the middle of the Tonga toast, so don't get it. It might be a step too far for me. I've done the banana bread. I've dipped my toe. We're starting down the banana journey, but this might be too far just yet. We need to walk before we can run. I love it. But yes, and I think this is the thing. Again, people, when they always say, oh, but why do you keep going back to Disney? I'm like, even stuff like the restaurants, there's so many restaurants to try that you need to go loads of times. And the problem is that I find now is there's restaurants that I want to go back to because I've loved them so much, but then also wanting to try new things and having that balance of like, I can't just keep going to the same restaurants even though I love them. So we have to like pick, okay, if I do that one this time, I'll do another one the next time, and then I'll fit in the new ones as well. And I think you say the banana conversation proves why YouTube is amazing. And this is the thing, isn't it? I can find out, could I do this? Is this level of banana too much for my taste palette? And I can get directly the answer, which is so fantastic. I also have to say, this is completely unrelated, but as we're talking about dining, Shiki Sai, I'm obsessed with. And if you haven't been to Shiki Sai in Epcot, definitely go. It is unbelievable. And it's one of those things. I also was not a big tomato fan for a long time of my life. In the past couple of years, I've weaned myself onto tomatoes. So there is hope for the banana. It could happen. But one of my favourite things I've ever had was at Shiki Sai, and it was a whole giant tomato. Normally, I just eat like plum tomatoes cut up, baby tomatoes cut up. Not a whole tomato, not a big tomato. Unbelievable. And there's just so many good dishes there. It's kind of a bit like Japanese, but tapas. So you can pick a mixture of different plates. And it's unbelievable, the food, and the service is so wonderful. And like when you first arrive, they do like a little like greetings at all of the staff. Like I think it was either a little bell or some sticks that they kind of knocked together to kind of announce that you had arrived, and then like all of the staff greet you. It was just absolutely amazing, and I'm obsessed with that. Absolutely obsessed. Jose, you had Sebastian's booked but cancelled the day before. I'm still sorry I did that. And that's the thing. Like, you have to go back. I think that's the only option. I think you're going to have to go back just for Sebastian. Can you imagine being like, I'll just spend all that money because I really have to go back. But it's a great excuse to go back. Oh, this is a really good question. Speaking of food, what's a not miss in Disneyland? And it's just Disneyland Paris as well. Because this is the thing. I think it's so hard because Disneyland Paris, the food is one area that I wish they'd improve. I do think it is getting better, and there are definitely places where you are like, this is much better than other places. However, because France is so passionate about their cuisine, I'm so surprised at Disneyland Paris. Unfortunately, most of the food is cooked off-site, frozen, and reheated, and you're just like, guys, particularly when you go to like Disney World or Disneyland, and their food is so good. But I have to say, I do like in Disneyland Paris, I do like Walt. I really liked Downtown, which I was surprised about. And I actually think some of the quick service I like more. Um, I love Colonel Hathie's, obsessed with that lentil curry. But California, you're in for a treat. The food is so good in California. And what I think is really nice is California, it's mostly quick service restaurants. There's only a handful of table service restaurants. And I think you could very easily visit and not go to any. I did go to a handful. So I went to Goofy Kitchen. And that was a really fun character experience. And I did enjoy the meal, but the service wasn't great. But then I also know people who they went and the service was fine, the food was great, and the characters weren't that good. So it's like a weird mixture. So it can be fun, but you might want to try out a different character dining meal. Lamplight Lounge gets talked about a lot, and I think that is an amazing setting. And I went there for my final night. That was really, really lovely to do. But I have to say, quick service, I think, is where it stands out. They have an amazing restaurant called Rancho del Zolacal, which is a Mexican restaurant, and the food is unbelievable. And do you know what's funny? I went to Disneyland when I was 18, just for a day, and we'd got on in that quick service restaurant, and I had thought about that Mexican food so often. So when I finally got to go back, I was so excited, and the food was just as good. It was unbelievable. I also had a breakfast at Red Rose Tavern, which was a Beauty and the Beast themed quick service restaurant, and I loved that. Like really, really good food. Just to be honest, I don't think there was any bad quick service food I had. And it's so fresh, like the food in California, and it's really cheap. California, the food is so much cheaper than any other Disney park. So you really, really can't go wrong. And yeah, you're just going to have the best. I'm obsessed with Disneyland. I'm desperate to go back to Disneyland because I just think it's one of the most amazing parks. I had the best time visiting. There's so much history. The roaming character is amazing. I think Disneyland Park itself is my favourite Disney park I've ever been to. And it just has so much jam-packed in there. It's wonderful. And I also love, like, I just think visiting California is great because you can do I've done a few different things. I did the last trip where I just went to Disneyland, and that was amazing. A week, fantastic. I've done it before where I've done like 3 or 4 days in Anaheim. Then I've also been in Los Angeles and doing loads of stuff there. I did a road trip where I went from Las Vegas. I saw Britney Spears with her Vegas show, which was amazing. Drove down to Los Angeles, did like Universal, the Warner Brothers lot, all of those things. Then went down to Disneyland. So there's so many things you can do, but yeah, you're just gonna have the best time. I'm absolutely obsessed, and the food, yeah, I think the food in California is just next level. It's so fresh, so delicious, and so cheap, which is just wonderful. Jose says you always get the croque monsieur at Market House Deli, and you love Hakuna Matata. I love Hakuna Matata as well. It's so good, and it's somewhere that I haven't been for a while. I was planning to go on my last trip, but it was shut very early, which is the downside again with Disneyland Paris. A lot of the restaurants shut very early, and I'm like, we need to sort that out because you can't have like 2 or 3 restaurants open and then everyone's trying to go to them at the same time, which is bonkers. Oh, this is a great point. Imagine, have I been mispronouncing your name wrong this whole time? I've been going Jose, but maybe it is Jose. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm very glad that Team Confetti has pointed this out. I'm so sorry. I always feel so terrible because you never want to be mispronouncing people's names. But this is very good information to know going forward. Oh, this is a great... Oh, thank you, Claire. The best place to get pins before Disneyland Paris. This is a really interesting thing because I am not a pin collector. However, I think there's a few things you can do. eBay can be a really good option because some people will be selling off pin collections or their set and stuff like that. So you'll be able to get a group of pins at one time. So if you did want to then start pin trading, you can go in already with a set of pins and do it that way. You can also get pin sets and individual pins on the Disney store, and if they've got like a sale on, that could be a good way to get some. But I do think eBay or maybe even Vinted could be quite good for getting some pins so you're ready to go. The only thing you need to be aware of is if you're buying them from like a third party place, is checking if they're the official ones, because Disneyland Paris are very hot on making sure people only pin trade official pins, which makes sense because it would be awful if people have spent money on the the pins, and then they swap it with ones that aren't official, that kind of have no value. And also, you don't want to have that thing of buying something from eBay and then finding out actually these people have sold me something that isn't official, which is the worst. So I'd just be aware of that. But that can be a really good option, because I know quite a lot of people will go, oh, actually, like, sometimes they'll want like new pins, so they'll sell like whole collections, and then you're like ready to go, which is wonderful. Okay, Jose. Okay, perfect. This is good. We know what we're doing going forward. And yeah, that's the thing. I immediately was like, Spanish pronunciation. We'll go with that. And it's not. It's not. Oh, so interestingly, so that's the thing, isn't it? Like, everyone's calling you Jose, like you're a little Spanish man. You're like, I'm a woman. Please don't do this. Is it like you might not know, but is it like the Dutch version of Josie or Josie, but like what in English we would call Josie? Maybe it's not. Maybe it's a completely unique name, but I'm loving that we're now getting the official pronunciation. Jose, we will do it. Yes, Lisa, you're so right. Disney World really doesn't care. Saw so many fake ones, and that's the thing. Like, I do appreciate that Disneyland Paris are very on it, because they obviously don't want people exchanging things that aren't like for like. But like you say, in Disney World, it's a whole different ball game. It's like Timu Central, like, so you have to be like so careful. Oh, oh, I love this. Okay, also, it's so nice to have people's names. So we have Olga. So I won't keep calling you Team Confetti, which is amazing. Although I am obsessed with your that being the name of your company, because I think that's so much fun. Obsessed with that name. It's so good. But yeah, I love that everyone. Oh, this is good. Okay, we're doing this. We're doing this. We're doing names, which is very exciting. We're learning how to pronounce names. But again, I think this is also part of the fun, isn't it? Where Disney is a like international community, that you get to meet people from everywhere, so you get to know like different names, different pronunciations. And yes, it's just very exciting going forward. We're gonna have all of the names now. It's so good. What do we see? Let's have a little look. Oh, interestingly, um, as we're talking about dining, but Disneyland Paris, recently a lot of the menus at Disneyland Paris have been updated. And when Disneyland Paris tend to do this, they don't kind of make a big fuss about it. They kind of don't even mention it. So it's only like every couple of months will go through all of the menus just to see if there's any updates, because on my website I have a list of all of the vegan options in Disneyland Paris. So I always want to keep that up to date. So this trip, I am going to be going back to Walt's and Silver Spur Steakhouse, because they've got completely new options. Captain Jack's, their vegan options have changed ever so slightly. Not enough for me to immediately go back, but I do want to go back to that. Something that's really interesting is, obviously, we've had the vegan burger in places like Cafe Hyperion and Cowboy Cookout, and also we used to have it at Chalet de la Marionette. However, that has now changed at Chalet de la Marionette to a breaded vegan burger, which I'm assuming is going to be like a vegan chicken burger. I love that Disneyland Paris, like, they, for the longest time, in fact, I don't think they ever corrected it until they removed the vegan fish and chips. It didn't used to say like vegan fish and chips. It used to say battered vegan and chips, and I'm like, I'm assuming I'm not eating an actual vegan. I'm just assuming. But I'm very excited to try that. So it's interesting that there's been some menu updates. Manhattan has got a slight change to the menu. So yeah, it's been good that this trip I'll get to try some, and then throughout the year I'll go and try some more as they continue to update, which is just very exciting. But yeah, I think it's interesting that they don't tell you. They just kind of surprise it upon everyone, and you turn up and you're like, oh, what's this? So I'm glad that I do keep checking. I used to do it with Disney World as well, because I did for a while have like a list of the vegan options there, but first and foremost, there's amazing people that do vegan Disney World stuff. So I was like, they've got it, and they're local, they go every single time, they can see all the updates. But the problem is Disney World has like 300 restaurants or something, so going through every single menu every couple of months was just ridiculous. And I was like, well, just leave it to them. They've got it. And then it's really nice when you get to go out there to kind of try the options and see which ones you love. I still can't get over Cosmic Rays. That was one of the worst dining experiences I've had at Disney World. I couldn't bear it. Just everything about it, not just the food. And interestingly, I've seen a few people since that have been and they've got the same thing and theirs looked much better. So I think I was just unlucky. Well, you know, some restaurants are kind of hit or miss. Like Cafe Hyperion, I was really lucky that I had a really good burger there. But I know if I went at a busy time, it probably wouldn't be good. Same with Casey's Corner. So I think with Cosmic Rays, I was just unlucky that I did not have a good patty melt. But aside from the food not being good, the whole experience, honestly, I was like, I'm on the verge of some sort of breakdown in here. It was absolutely nuts with Sunny Eclipse screaming. He's so loud. And then the room's like an echo chamber, so there's hundreds of people speaking. Sunny's screeching over the top of them. And I was just like, I can't be in here any longer. It was the absolute worst. So I don't think I'll be going back there. I think we'll just have to try other places. But I do wish that Disneyland Paris would have more of their quick service restaurants open after 5 p.m. because so many of them shut at 5 p.m. and I'm like, guys, and I think that's something that catches a lot of people out, because if you don't know, you would just assume that everyone would be open. And obviously Fantasyland does have to shut early so they can spray down the buildings, blah blah blah, blah. But not 5 o'clock. Like, it's ridiculous. Lisa, did you like Cosmic Rays? See, I had, like, my bread was like not toasted at all. Like, so it was just like a burger patty inside cold bread. And I was just like, what is this? It was really grim. And then the environment was just unbelievable. I was like, I literally had to put headphones in because I was like, I have to disassociate because I can't be in here. It was like so stressful. And then I had to like sit down outside for a few minutes to like calm down. I was like, this is too much for me. I can't cope. So it's just been, yeah, that was a lot to take in. It was a lot to happen. But yeah, but I also think that's the thing, isn't it? Like, I'm always conscious of, if I go somewhere and I don't have a great experience, that is just my experience. Like, it's not necessarily that everyone has that. And like I said, I know a lot of people have really enjoyed the patty melt. So I think I just had like a batch that just wasn't it wasn't as good as others. And if I went back, maybe it would be good. It's like Akershus. I've only been there once. I got food poisoning. I hated it. Obviously, as someone who has emetophobia, it was terrible. And I've never been back since. And that was in 2018. So it's been many, 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 many years. And since then, it was the restaurant that was shut the longest after the pandemic. It's got a completely new menu. I really should go back, but I was just like, I don't know if I can ever face stepping foot into Akershus again. And I'm like, I can't cope. Okay, that makes sense. Going into Cosmic Rays during the party nights, and like you say, you get to have the experience. You get to go in there, see, and that's the thing. I'd been in there before, I think during a Halloween party, because I think they had trick or treating in there, or maybe not. Maybe I went to get there was some reason I went in there, and it was quiet, and you could just watch Sunny Eclipse. And I thought, this is charming. So when I went back, and I was like, oh, I'll go and eat in there this time, and it was a living nightmare. And I was like, he's lost all of his charm when he's having to shout over the top of 400 people speaking really loudly. And so this is the thing, you loved Akershus. So I think that's the thing, isn't it? Like, you can never ever, like, if you have a bad experience, it doesn't mean that there's a bad restaurant, just that you had a bad experience. Other people have amazing experience. And also people's tastes are different. So, like, some people might like a certain flavour profile, and then other people don't like if I had Tonga toast, I'm most likely going to be like, it's terrible. But that's only because I don't like banana. Whereas other people, favourite dish, like, highly recommend, absolutely amazing. Oh, this is a good point. Is it better to get there when opening and leaving early, or get there later and leave at closing for smaller crowds, if there's such a thing at Disneyland Paris? I would say if you're staying at a Disneyland hotel and you've got the extra magic hour, definitely do that, because that is way quieter. The rides have much, much shorter queues, and then you can leave. Because the thing is, in the evening, if you leave directly after the fireworks, it is hellish because everyone's leaving at the same time. So what I always do is I actually just find a seat, sit down, wait for like 15 minutes. Everyone clears out. You get the castle shots with no one in, and then it's much quieter to get back. I would say during the fireworks itself, some of the rides are much shorter. And when you walk around, so if you walk around Frontierland when the fireworks are on, it's practically empty. You have the whole place to yourself. You can walk onto the rides. It's amazing. The downside with that is Fantasyland is closed. So one, it makes it difficult to get around the park, but two, all of those rides you can't go on. So I would always say I think going first thing in the morning is better at Disneyland Paris for smaller crowds. Just because in the evening, the only time you'll get smaller crowds is by missing the fireworks, and then you still wouldn't get on the rides in Fantasyland. So it's like swings and roundabouts. But yeah, in the morning you will always get a lot done, which is fantastic, and the wait times are so much shorter, which is great. But it is amazing as well in the evening, because I always think what's nice about the rides is like Big Thunder is a completely different experience in the day and at night. So it's quite nice to have both those experiences. And Big Thunder while the fireworks is on is amazing because the queues are shorter. And if you're actually on the ride and you're seeing the fireworks, that's really, really cool. I regularly go to like Phantom Manor when the fireworks are on, and you just go around and around. And do you know what? Oh my god, I had one of my favourite ever experiences. It's when I visited with my friends, and we went on Phantom Manor, and there was three of us, and we were the only people in the entire ride. So we had when we first walked in, the cast member was being really creepy and spooky and like frightening us, which was great. And then when we went on the ride itself, we were the only people. And then what they did, which I loved, so I was with two other people. They went in a doom buggy together, and then for me, they held me back. So there was probably about 6 or 7 doom buggies between us. So when I was on the ride, you literally couldn't see anyone else. So you really felt like you were in Phantom Manor on your own, and it definitely made it more spooky. And that is an amazing experience, and you will often find Phantom Manor is very, very quiet during the fireworks. So if you do want a more spooky experience, that is a great time to go. But yeah, if you want the short queue times and the ability, although I have to say, extra magic hours, not all the rides are open, and it's not the same rides every day, which is very confusing. So I always open the app, and then you'll be able to see which rides are open so that you don't waste time. So say Big Thunder isn't quite open immediately. You don't walk all the way there and then go, oh, it's not open, I'll go into Fantasyland, and kind of, miss out on getting on Pan when it's really short queue. You could just go straight to Peter Pan, for example. So yeah, Disneyland Paris has all these interesting quirks, doesn't it? And I think that's the thing why it's really nice to be able to do like videos where like things you wouldn't necessarily think about. Like you wouldn't think about restaurants shutting at 5 o'clock, or that not all the rides are open during extra magic hours. So it's really great when you have been before, or you know someone that can pass on the tips or something, because then you go, oh, okay, that's so helpful. Whereas like Disney World, it's much more consistent. Like again, Disneyland Paris, it's weird to me how the shows don't operate all year round. Like they'll do a few months, then it'll go on hiatus for a few months, and there'll always be some shows going on, but you won't ever go and all of the shows will be happening at the same time. Whereas if you go to Disney World, everything is always open all the time. Which is really interesting. As I said, I got stuck at Big Thunder Mountain with the last bit with the bats. The sound of the bats stayed on. It was deafening, but great to walk through the caves. That's so much fun. Like, how exciting! Because I think that's one of the most special things about Big Thunder Mountain in Disneyland Paris. The fact that it's on an island. And to get on and off, you have to go underneath the water and through the caves. Like, that's so cool. What an amazing experience. I've actually never, ever been walked off of a ride. I've been on rides that have broken down. And then you've sat there for like 30, 40 minutes and then it started again. But I've never been walked off a ride. So that's like very exciting. What an experience to have. But yeah, that just must be wild. But I remember I was on Splash Mountain during Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party, and it broke down. And it was so funny because it broke down just before we were going up the big hill to do the big drop. And we were sat there for ages and ages. And when we got on the ride, it was daylight. And then by the time we got to the bit where it was the drop, it was now dark outside. And I was like, oh my god, so I can't believe we've like gone through a completely different time of day now. But yeah, there must be rides that's really cool to get to walk through. You should think, yeah. Oh, Claire has asked the best place in Disneyland Paris for t-shirt and ears. Oh, there's a few different places. If you're in Disney Village, there's a shop called Disney Star. No, Disney Glamour now. They've changed the name. It's Disney Glamour, and that has a lot of clothing and it has some ears. Um, World of Disney in Disney Village as well. That has a lot of ears, but not as many clothing. I would say in Disneyland Paris itself, if you when you first walk in, on the right hand side there's a shop called Flora's, and that typically has limited edition ears and clothes. And a few shops down from that is another clothes shop that has ears and clothes. What's interesting is clothes tend to be more in shops that sell clothes. And then ears you tend to find in more places. So it's easier to get ears. Say if you went to Emporium, which is the big shop when you first enter Disneyland Paris on the left-hand side, they'll have lots and lots of ears and like maybe a bit of clothes. So yeah, it's a nice place. I have to also say one of my favourite shops to go in is in Frontierland, the main shop in Frontierland. I just really like their mixture. They have a bit of everything in there. And I think that's a really fun shop. But yeah, I would say like World of Disney is a good bet for ears. Disney Glamour is good for clothing and like especially limited edition stuff. Flora's is also good for limited edition clothes and ears. I can't think what it's called. It's like it's to do with the gas station. It's not to do with the gas station. It's to do with motors or on a Main Street. That's a clothing shop. And Emporium will also have a lot of ears. But yeah, it's so much fun to get the ears, isn't it? I have seen at the moment they've got like a limited edition set of ears that are pink. Yellow polka dot. And yellow's my favourite colour. And it's every year Disneyland Paris do a collaboration with a charity. So anything that's bought to do with that range, part of it will go towards this charity. So I'm hoping when I'm there, I'll be able to get some. But I've heard they've been selling out. They've been really, really popular. But that would be amazing. Jose said, I have a feeling that dusk isn't really a thing in Florida. When the sun has set, it's dark in a minute, I feel like. Although golden hour is beautiful. And that's the thing, isn't it? It does seem to go from like blazing sun to golden hour. And like you said, golden hour is just absolutely stunning. And then it's dark really quick. It's not like a gradual thing. It's just very sudden. And you're like, because like I said, I must have been in Splash Mountain for 30, maybe 35 minutes. And it'd gone from complete sunlight to complete darkness in that time. And I was just like, what's happened here? It's so funny. But yeah, but it's interesting as well, isn't it? How different places like the sun sets obviously much later in the UK than it does Disney World and stuff like that. It's really interesting. Like in the summer, so like here in the summer, the sun won't set till like 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. Whereas Disney World, it's more regular at being like 8, 9 o'clock. So I think that's really obviously it's to do with the equator, which makes sense. The further you know, science. But like I do find all of those things really interesting. How like it impacts like because obviously that has a big impact on firework times. That's why Disneyland Paris in the summer it's 11 p.m. till you get fireworks, which is just absolutely bonkers. But it's because it has to be dark. Whereas Disney World they can do it more consistently at 9 o'clock because it's going to be dark at 9 o'clock. Which is actually quite handy, isn't it? And I have to say that's something I love about Disneyland. Is interestingly they don't have fireworks every night all throughout the year. However, when they do, the fireworks are normally at 9 o'clock, but the park stays open till midnight. But what's great is because Disneyland is very much a locals park. There's very few people that are tourists, and if they are, they're typically from states close to California. There's very, very few international tourists. But what happens is after the fireworks, the locals leave because they might have like, you know, because America's so big, they might still have to drive like 3 hours to get home from Anaheim, even though they're in California or whatever. And then those last few hours, it's unbelievable because there's just no one there. You just get to walk around, like everything's still open, all the rides are still operating, the queue times are really, really low. So I loved that about California. It's open so it's like 8 a.m. till midnight. It's just ridiculously long hours, but it's wonderful. But yeah, I'm desperate to go back to Disneyland, and I really like because my last trip where I did just Disneyland, I really want to go and do a trip where I then also go to Universal and do some stuff in Los Angeles and stuff like that because I love, love, love visiting. Like I've always had great times whenever I've gone. I think Los Angeles is such an interesting place because it's so weird because it's like super glamorous and you've got filmmaking and all of that stuff, but then it's also really weird because of that. There's obviously so much amazing history, and if you love anything to do with culture, there's so much to do there, and yeah, it's just fantastic. And that's the thing I'd also love. It's so hard to pick what time of year to visit because you want to go all of the times. But I've never done like Halloween in California, and I think that would be really great because obviously you have Halloween Horror Nights at Universal, you've got Oogie Boogie Bash. I'd love to go to Knott's Berry Farm for their scare event. So like that could be a really fun time of year to visit. I don't think it will be this year, but I think that would be so much fun. Um, and yeah, I just love going to Disney, but also traveling is so good. But yes, Jose, you said you want to go to Disneyland, but first you need to save money for the Asian parks. And yes, I think that would be so, so cool. And do you think you'll do all three in one trip? Or do you think you'll focus on maybe like Hong Kong and Shanghai and then do Japan a different trip? Like, how are you thinking of doing it? Because I think it'll be so much fun to do all three in one big trip. But I also know a lot of people tend to do Japan on its own trip and then maybe Hong Kong and Shanghai in another trip. So yeah, I think it's interesting. I'm like, if you could do all three at once, I think that would be amazing. It's so good. But yeah, I'm just obsessed with Disneyland. It's so good, and at the moment they've got the 70th anniversary still going on, so that looks super super fun. And I'd also love to. Something I didn't do last time was to do the studio tour at Burbank. So you can go to the Walt Disney Studios there, and I think that looks absolutely incredible. How cool would that be to actually go and walk around those places that Walt has been, and where they're still making all of the films? So yeah, I think that would be really 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 cool. And again, like I like hiring a car. That what I loved last time is where I was just in one place. It was so easy to just do transfers. The Diamond Driver guy were absolutely incredible. Um, and I still think that would be a good option. So say like I flew in to LAX or something, get a transfer to Anaheim, because when you're in Anaheim you don't need a car. You could absolutely get around, it's perfect. But then if you want to explore maybe other areas and you're happy driving, that could be so much fun. But it's just so good. Oh, you found a trip from a Dutch travel agency that does 3 parks in a 2.5 week trip. I would love to do that. That sounds perfection. How good would that be? So yeah, I think that would be wonderful. Like, oh my god, I hope that happens. That would be absolutely fantastic. And yeah, it's just the best, isn't it? Like, and they just look brilliant. And the problem is, the merchandise is really cheap. And it's unbelievably cute. And it's just like, this is terrible because now I need to buy everything. But it looks fantastic. So yeah, that would be a dream. But yeah, I always think it's very exciting, isn't it, when there's a brand new year, because you do think anything's possible. And then you get to start thinking about what you want to do this year, or like I'm going to save up this year, and then next year I'll get to go, and like all of those things. So that will be so much fun. It'll be so good. I can't. Is it? It can't be done. We have not been going for 3 hours. This is the thing that blows my mind: is how quickly the live stream goes. But it's like we were saying earlier: when you're getting to chat to people about things that you love, time flies by. So I should probably let you all go. It's a Sunday evening. Tomorrow we may have work and all of these things to be on with. Oh, April, May next year. That'll be amazing. So this is gonna be a fun year of saving, and then knowing you're going to have an amazing trip. And like that will be a lovely, lovely time of year to visit as well, won't it? Like spring trip. That's going to be perfection. So yeah, I hope that all comes to fruition. And that will be such a joy. But yes, you're 100% right, Claire. Time flies when you're having fun. And that's the thing. It always blows my mind how quickly the live streams go. But of course, we will be back next month. And like I say, if there's ever any topics that you think, oh, that would be really fun to theme the live stream around, we can absolutely do that. But it's very exciting because very soon we're going to have more Disneyland Paris vlogs. So we're going to have on Wednesday coming up a video all about character dining at Disney World. Then there's going to be a packing video, like a how do you pack for a winter trip to Disneyland Paris with cabin luggage. And then we're into Disneyland Paris vlogs, which will be very exciting. And then, like I said, there'll be lots of planning videos about the practical stuff of how to get from like the airport to Val d'Europe, how to get from Val d'Europe to Disneyland Paris, how much it costs. everything you need to know, and then a few other planning videos that I'm planning to film whilst I'm out there, which will be so much fun. And alongside that, we'll also have Disney World planning videos. It's always nice to kind of do a little bit of a mix of everything. So yeah, it's just gonna be an amazing like February. And then before you know it, it'll be live stream time again, which is so interestingly, because February is a short month, I think the next live is something like the 22nd will be the last Sunday of February. So it won't actually be that long. It's less than a month already before the next live stream, which is fantastic. So I hope you all have a lovely, lovely rest of your Sunday. And I will speak to you all very, very soon. And have a lovely rest of your January. And then before you know it, more Disneyland Paris vlogs, which is going to be so fun. But thank you all so much for joining. And I will see you all soon.